talk about it.
All right. Well, that took me a second to, get us off of the overlay. I totally forgot about that. But welcome. How's it going? I am joined today with BMO Art. And or excuse me, BMO Do Art this time. My bad. I thought it was BMO's art before. But BMO is quite an awesome artist friend. Yeah, we wanted to have kind of a discussion. I think that, AI art is a really good thing. And I think BMO disagrees with me. So I would definitely like to, kind of pick your brain. And I had this fun video where I think some of your arguments, or at least some of your previous arguments, are kind of addressed, not in the perfect way, but I think that could be kind of a fun jumping off point for this conversation. But welcome to the show, BMO. How's everything going with you, sir?
I'm doing great. You're right. I'm not sure how I feel about whether AI art is a good thing or not, but I'm here.
Hmm.
Also, there is an audio echo somewhere. Can you
Hmm.
hear that possibly?
I can't. Do
Oh, hold
you
on.
happen
I
to have it
think
up
I
in
might
another
have
tab?
found
It
it.
might be.
I found it. I found it.
Ah,
I found it. Okay.
okay.
There we go. That's
I was
done.
gonna say, I don't
I thought I
hear
was
it, but
going insane.
sweet. Well, I hate insanity. Sweet. I'm glad that you're not getting an echo now, and we're able to just kind of talk.
Yeah,
But
we're professionals
yeah, you've
here.
got kind of yeah, so pro. So you're pro art. Can you kind of give your background in art? Your bona
So
fides, if you will.
I'll actually touch in a couple things with that. So you actually mentioned BMO's art. That actually was what it was before someone stole the handle,
Oh
and I had
no.
to change it.
Well, I'm
So
sorry for advertising for them.
had to do had to do a little bit of a rebrand, just a little bit of one, in order to make Twitch work out. But yeah, I've been
Hmm.
drawing for probably around 17 or 18 years because I was like I've been drawing since I
Oh
was
yeah.
really young. Like my parents were very artistic. I was raised by a mom who really loved art and eventually was teaching art for a bit. Um so I was always
Hell
like
yeah.
very creative. Um Eventually I became so enamored with video game manuals that had these really cool art in them that I was like, one day
Hmm.
I'm gonna draw that. And it just so happened to be Kirby Superstar Ultra's game manual that made me go like, Kirby is the thing I'm going to be drawing for the next 3 years. And that is exactly how it
Hell
went.
yeah.
I grabbed a CD and traced a circle and I tried to make Kirby. But yeah, eventually it turned into like, okay, I'll go from Kirby to Naruto is really cool. I'm going to draw Naruto characters. I'm going to draw Mega Man characters. And I just moved on from that. Now I'm a
Awesome.
freelance
Love the
artist. That's
addition of
usually what
Naruto.
I call myself. Um,
Hmm.
and yeah, I just do it on the side. It's not. This is why before the stream started, we were talking about like I don't really think I'm a professional. I just draw. I just draw stuff.
What do you consider a professional then?
Someone
Because
that
you
makes
do
more money
it.
than
I
I do.
mean, okay, but like you've gotten commissions and stuff. So
Sure.
like, I don't know. You've made money off of it. Does a professional you have to make your living off of it?
That's a very good question. I'd like to say yes, but I'm not sure what the ramifications of me saying yes would be. Yeah, think about this in a bigger
Hmm.
picture. Um, hmm.
Fair enough.
I guess it's not required to make a living if you're gonna. Yeah, yeah. I think you might be right on that one. I'm gonna have to take your
I'm
side
just
on that one.
wondering, like, I don't know, people kind of push back on me when I said like I didn't used to be like a professional. I was like a struggling musician, and I don't know. They just kept asking me like, "What is your qualification of like professional?" I was like, I don't know. I guess
Someone
like
who's
make a
not
living
me?
at it. Like, yeah, yeah, someone better than me. Um,
Exactly.
yeah. So I don't know. Well, fair enough. Well, let me give kind of my background with art. So I love art. I used to do like a whole bunch of sketching. I took a whole bunch of sketching classes that led into like
Awesome.
charcoal classes. From there, I went to like pastels. I just liked different mediums and kind of learning how to do it. I never like was formally trained in like any painting, but I'd love to do that on my own. Both, I've never really messed around with actual oils, but yeah, I loved like gouache, watercolors, acrylics. But yeah, in high school, got really into ceramics, and that was kind of like my stupid whatever. You had to focus in my high school. Yeah, my focus was on ceramics apparently. So
Did you
yeah,
make
that
pottery
was
and
good time.
such?
Did I also did like sculpture. Like
So
I
you were
know
a
I had
part
to
of that
do.
that movie scene?
Mhm. Yep, I definitely ghosted and was ghosted. Yeah, so, uh, you know, I got a weird background like that, and then, like, in adulthood, I've taken a few classes and gotten into, like, a few different medium as well. Um, so, like, gouache, I've been, practicing on that kind of recently. But, one thing that I really got into is lithography. So,
What is
like,
that? Hold on, I don't know what that is.
sometimes it's like vinyl printing. So like you can use vinyl or a bunch of different like rubber things, and you basically kind of make stamps out of it. If you use like some kind of register, then you can do different colors out of different stamps, or you
Awesome,
can
sounds
do
really cool.
what they call like oh, now I'm forgetting the actual name for it, but essentially like you do more detail and you carve away at the same one to make kind of an intricate one that can only be done like as many times as you printed it before you start carving away again. So I don't know. I've enjoyed those kind of things. In high school, I kind of got into digital art, but realized my limitations with it. I don't know. It's so much easier to do it for me, like with a pencil, than to think of it as like layers for shading, layers for lighting. I don't know that I realized like I was not the best at that, so I've kind of steered away from there. But recently, AI art has kind of got me more into Photoshop, and I've definitely used it like way more in this last year than I have like in hell like a decade. So I don't know. I guess where I'm standing is I see AI art as kind of an extension, much like digital art or like Photoshop or any of those digital programs that we can use has been like an extension, a shortcut, a way to do things that you could do manually, but it's a lot easier to do it in like say layers or there's a bunch of different things that you can add to it that it just seems like it's a progression and a tool to me. But I could
I
totally
think
be wrong. But
I
that's
think I
I guess kind of
somewhat
my
agree
stance
with
on it.
with your stance actually. Um, for me, I think that there's a large chasm between, okay, I'm creating something with a tool and then I'm having the tool basically create it for me. And that's really where my stance differs from yours. I see that there's a big
Mhm.
difference. I personally think there's a big difference between what's a good way to put it? If I were to draw a circle and there's a circle stamp, I'm definitely going to value the work that someone takes to make a perfect circle and the circle stamp, if that makes sense. AI art
Mhm.
is you're prompting to get that perfect circle. And yes, there's the input that you can get, but it's like I'm asking a machine to do it. I usually use an analogy of commissioning art. When you
Mhm.
when you commission me to make you a piece, it's a fully involved process. It is you tell me what you want, I make a sketch, you approve the sketch, I move forward from there with all the pointers in between with progress shots until we get it to a finished point. That's what I
Hmm.
see making AI art as. Man, that's a tongue twister at the moment. AI art as blah, 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 blah. But it's like commissioning a piece. You are putting the creative input in, but I wouldn't say that you made the thing.
Fair enough. I think so. I wouldn't say that you were the artist, but I would say that you created it. And I guess it would
Sure,
come down to
I'll
like kind
accept
of the
that actually.
semantics on the definition of creation. Because like the computer didn't make it on its own. You did prompt it. And I think
You're
that's
right.
where
You
I'd go
did
back
something.
to. Well, yeah, yeah, like that you did. So I like the idea of like commissioning because, okay, if I commission a piece from you, I'm gonna own this piece, so I'm gonna get to choose, like what happens to it, and I'm the one who decided what it should. I generally like, a commission. I guess you could just say, "Give me one art," but generally, you would commission a piece, and you'd like tell, the artist some sort of prompts what you want. Sometimes they want like a stick figure reference, something so that
I mean,
you can
yeah.
kind of get the idea across for them what you're trying to commission from them. it feels very similar. So I don't know, like, as far as the AI art goes, like, I wouldn't say that I drew any of, like, my thumbnails or anything like that, but,
Mhm.
I did prompt the creation, so I think I am definitely involved in that creation process. Maybe it's, semantics or just the definition of
Yeah.
creation, but
This is
I
why I
think I'm
actually
involved in
count
that
it as
since
an
it
art
wouldn't
form.
exist without the prompting. Yeah, and
I'll
I think that's
accept
where
it's
you
art for
kinda
this
differ
very
from some
reason.
of your, cool. That is awesome, and I think that's, I don't know what you'd wanna call that,
That's
I think that's huge.
controversial to
A
some
lot of
people.
people I think so in the manual art or what do you call it?
Manual
The,
art, oh man.
non-AI art. Yeah,
Usually I just
binary
call it
art,
traditional. Honestly, at this point, that's the
analog
new
art.
traditional. That's kinda how
Mm,
I see it because, I mean, the technology is always gonna evolve. I'm, like, seeing what art's gonna be
mhm,
like in the next 10 years. I'm actually kind of excited. I want if anything, this is, like, where Shadiversity's argument kind of comes in, um, where when Shad makes AI art, it actually makes him want to physically draw more. And if you
for
creating
sure.
AI art leads you to want to learn how to do it yourself, I'm all for it. Because the
Hmm,
creative input and being able, let's say, like I don't know if you know what Shad has done with AI art, but he's drawing now his own poses, then plugging it into the machine, and he's basically feeding his own art into it, and letting it
hmm,
make it better.
yeah.
I think that that's really
Well,
neat.
there's a bunch of different ways that you can kind of do that. And yeah, it kind of depends like which form of AI art and like how you start because you can just start with a prompt, but
Yep.
generally when you do that, you're going to end up not getting exactly what you're looking
You're
for,
throwing spaghetti at the
unless you're
wall.
exactly. So a lot of times, like if you do want a specific pose or something, it's really hard to do unless you draw it yourself or give it some sort of reference. And even then, depending on what you want to do, the reference will probably have to be tailored. You'd probably have to take it into another program and kind of get even that reference the way that you want it to. So it'd be much easier to just kind of draw it. But it can really build off of, like even the stick figure design very well with the control net. Um, I don't know. Like it's weird. There's so many different levels to it. Kind of like Photoshop. Like, yeah, there is a genre for like bad Photoshop, and I'm sure there'll be a
Oh
genre
yeah,
for like bad
it's great.
AI, but there's just so much and so many levels that you can go. Like, I know that I am still like definitely novice level as far as like Photoshop skills go.
I mean,
But with new advancements that it has, like, have you used so I assume I know I've seen that you do some digital, but I'm assuming you've used like Photoshop and stuff recently,
yeah, I've
haven't you?
used Photoshop. I actually like for the longest time I was using a pirated version of Adobe Photoshop.
Oh, that's so wrong. How
Oh
dare you?
yeah, yar har.
Um,
But I was using that and I really hated it. It was very clunky and all that. And eventually I actually learned how to do a lot of photo editing and stuff like that on Clip Studio
mm,
Paint. So I was like, because it works generally.
yeah, yeah. Um, so, if you have used, Photoshop recently, have you used, like, generative expand or, like, generative fill or anything like that?
I have not had the opportunity to mess with that, but I've seen how it works, and that is it's weird. It's weird to me.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
I
like,
love the
I
thought
so
of
basically
auto
my
background, but at the same time,
yeah. Well, it can be auto background or it can be just, like, adjusting it slightly, like, it depends, like, if it's a really small image, then it's basically, like, creating a background, and then it's usually pretty bad. But if it's just, like, filling, like, just a little bit, like, if your proportions are just barely off, but you need it, like, for, like, the size of a thumbnail, for instance, is where I've used it most. Uh, it it is pretty amazing at what it does. It kind of just resizes, but would you consider an image that went through that to be, like, I don't know, less artistic? Even if it is, like, say, you just scanned your image, but it's slightly different,
I'm a
dimensions that you
little
need it to be for,
conflicted
like, the thumbnail?
actually,
Hmm.
because there's the one argument going around that I'm not necessarily too cool on, and it's coming from the anti-AI art side that because there was no human input and there was no intent behind the thing, it's not art, and I don't
Hmm.
like that very much, but I kinda get that, like, little bit of the generative the you're just letting the computer add stuff. and it's trying to use your original image as the context. But I'm not sure
Mm.
I would like call that AI art necessarily, because usually AI art's
Hmm.
made with the intent to make a very specific thing. But that I'm not sure really where I stand on this. I think it's a really cool idea, and it'll be really
Yeah.
useful, but I'm
It seems
not
like it's a
sure.
really helpful tool. It's like a shortcut because, like, so for instance, I'm assuming you wouldn't say that it's no longer your image or no longer art or something if you were to, like manually kind of take part of the background, kind of keep filling it, like either use the clone tool, which I'm not sure if you think the clone tool is also, I don't know, cheating or lesser art because you're using that. And like fill the frame until you have like that new, whatever you want to call it, dimension that you actually need versus like having the AI do it for you. I don't know. It does feel like it's less skill by all means, but I don't know. Wouldn't it be the same thing like driving somewhere instead of walking? Like wouldn't that just be, I don't know, less skill or less effort put in, but you're getting to that
I
same
definitely
destination.
value the effort put in a lot of things,
For sure.
just in generally in life. It's like a I'm very much a fan of the underdogs, people who put the work in to make it go. That's why I'm a sucker for a lot of movies. But the I would not. It's not that I would not call it art if someone did that. For me, I'm not sure exactly
Mm,
where I'd put it. I like the idea that the tool exists. I don't want it not to exist. Um, because it's unexplored territory, and
hmm,
I'm not the type of artist that sees new techniques as cheating usually. Like you were talking
hmm.
about the stamp tool. Well, the stamp tool
Yeah.
still you're still putting the effort into and the input in to make that exactly what you want it to be. And that's the only difference I can see
Hmm,
between that and just doing the generative expand, because it's
mhm.
just adding more of what's already there, or supposedly supposed to be doing that. It doesn't always do that, I've seen. I don't
It
know.
seems
I don't really
very
know.
close to
I
the
don't have
clone
the answer.
tool in that, like, you'll see, like, repeated pattern, like, if it's, like, a wall with, like, bricks or something, like, you'll see that exact part, like, kinda duplicated. So, I don't know, like, it feels very close to the clone tool to me, but, I don't know. Maybe I'm,
I mean,
biased because I do enjoy
I'm not
AI
even
art.
gonna argue with you on that. I mean, it feels kind of the same to me. If you're just using it as a tool to expand, I think it's I feel like I gotta watch my words carefully here, because I know that some people are waiting for me to say the wrong thing here. I'm just trying to think, how do I phrase this? I'm
Well, I'm
fine
not
with
trying to, like,
generative
paint you into a
expand.
corner or anything like that,
I know.
but I just wonder,
I'm
like, do
putting
you view
some
that the
thought
same
into
as,
it.
like, AI art from, like, whole cloth? Do you view those as the same, or would that be, like, a lesser
I don't see
degree?
them as the same now. One's using a tool,
Okay.
the other one is telling the tool to do the whole thing. That's kinda how I generally see it.
Fair enough. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I'm trying to think what a good analogy would be. It just to me, it's kind of like, yeah, like you could unload like a pallet by hand, and there's so much effort put into it. There's so many calories expended, but you could also, just move that entire pallet with like a forklift. I,
Yep.
it seems like it's getting a version of that job done. Like, yes, you're not getting that additional energy or effort put into it, but I don't know. Maybe it's a bad analogy, but I guess I'm kind of seeing it that way. I've heard it
I know there's
described as like
limits
a,
to the effort
climbing a
analogy.
mountain. Mm,
And definitely, like, talking about, like, oh, well, if we want to make that analogy universal on, like, okay, do you value the effort in this real life instance? Do you value the effort in this? The answer for me generally is yes, but some things are definitely more valuable than others. You just putting effort in for the sake of effort is not something I really value too highly. But it's like the difference between an
mm,
artisan and someone who buys furniture from IKEA or something. Um,
mm,
I see more value in the carpenter that makes the drawers on his own, gets that really nice and smooth, um, versus just putting it through a planer that does all the smoothing and everything for you. I would still value
yeah.
the handmade, probably took longer and all that over the other one. just because of that's some skill, real skill that I value personally.
Yeah. And I mean, I can definitely see that too. And you can definitely see the difference between, like some like hand planed, hand milled, like hand built, like solid, sturdy, desk or like some IKEA desk. Um, that doesn't mean that there isn't necessarily a need for that IKEA desk. And that's, I guess that's kind of where I see AI art. And this might be a good kind of jumping off point for the video. I think we both kind of agree that it's not on the same level as something that's, somebody really mastered their skill, really took the time and the effort and made something amazing.
Yeah.
But I think there's certain utility for this. And I do see it like as a tool, but I don't know. I feel like
I
this
am more
might be kind of
towards the
circular.
tool portion of this than not. Definitely,
Hmm.
because there's definite uses that I know I personally would use it. I hate drawing backgrounds. I really hate drawing
Yeah.
backgrounds. So if I could get something basic that's not gonna get me fined or kicked off the internet for posting it, yeah, I would do that. I actually would.
And I think this will come up in the video, but I'm also kind of wondering, like, would you think that somebody is not their piece isn't as unique if they're using, like say assets or something like, they need a city background, so they like blur it in the background, but they have like either assets that they've purchased or have previously done something like that. Does that now diminish this? Would that be similar
I don't
or?
think that using assets diminishes it, in terms of
Hmm,
generating like an image of a city and then blurring it behind. I see that as the same thing as using assets. Um, so
okay.
I don't see because like if I'm thinking about what the professionals that I watch and I try to learn from, a lot of them they do that. It's like they do real life reference, blur the crap out of it, put it in the background, not even going to draw over it, and then that's like part of their background.
Hmm.
That's just a piece of the entire thing that they've made. If
For
that makes
sure.
sense.
And I mean, it's definitely not the focus, or hopefully that wouldn't be the focus. But even then, I guess like you still did transform it.
Oh, hey,
So,
Rosales
hey,
Comics.
hey, Rosales, good to see
Do you
you,
mind if I
sir.
actually respond to a
Uh,
couple of chats in the chat here?
yeah, please do. Sorry, is there anyone in particular?
Yeah, there is. First for the Narratio reads. So there is
Okay.
AI trained on just one artist. I actually was talking to Gray about this right before we streamed.
Yeah.
So Sam does arts. He's not a
Hmm.
fan of AI arts in the slightest. He just says, "Well, it's easy enough to just learn to draw yourself. You might as well do that. Stop stealing art." That's very much the context that he's coming from. He thinks
Hmm.
he thinks it's theft. So what he does is, well, no, not what he does. His fans or maybe detractors, not sure, made and trained a bot specifically on Sam's art, and it's really close to one to one. Whether you think that's ethically
Yeah.
okay or
Well,
not, because he was like, "Please don't do this," and then they were like, "Screw you, we're doing this." But I mean, it exists.
I, and there's a couple of different artists themselves who they've kind of adopted the whole AI art thing, and they do see it as kind of the next thing. They have purchased personal AI art, whatever you want to call it, like their own. It's only been trained off of their own
Yeah,
artwork. That's the only
their
thing
own
that's been
models.
fed
Yeah,
into it. So it's
Corridor
just kind
Digital
of
is a really
yeah, it's
good
just
one to
modeling
bring
off
up
of them.
for that.
Which is kind of cool. Like it is very interesting. But yeah, you could have it just trained off of you personally. And then I know there's a few artists who are just doing that for like background assets, for instance, so that they don't have to, keep redrawing every single thing. It's in their style. It's just going to be like the background and they might blur it anyway. I don't know. To me, that seems like it's a tool and it just cuts down on time. But yeah, there's a bunch of really cool artists who are using simple, like one that is just trained on their own work. That seems kind of cool as well. And I've heard some authors starting to do that with, like Chat GBT. Well, not Chat, but their own version of that as well,
I really
which
wonder
is kind
how
of cool.
writing will translate into this. I really
Yeah.
wonder.
I want to have a talk with Charles soon, Willis Greedia, but it's on
Mhm.
AI comedy. Um, also the same guys that we're gonna watch, they also, fed all of their material into an AI, and it, not only does so 2 different AIs, one to do the writing. It's nowhere near, like, where their level as, like, professional comedians are,
Hey, Vincent,
but,
morning.
the voice is pretty uncanny except for the actual, like, delivery, but damn, like, it's scary. I don't think we can stop it at this point, but,
No, I agree. I don't think we
yeah,
can. And this
it's
train is only
it's
going
coming.
forward.
Sorry, you said that there were a couple of them you wanted to respond to.
Hmm.
Was there another one?
Germanium Jones. He says, but there is human
Uh,
input in the descriptive instructions. So
yeah.
yes, that's true. Just like if you're going to commission me, you give me your creative input via that, but I'm still making the thing for you. That's still how I view it. It doesn't
Mm,
diminish that it is art. That's why I accept that AI art is art. You're still putting your creative input into it because you're telling it to make the thing, but you're not making
mhm.
the thing. That's how I see it. I don't value it the same, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I think that does make perfect sense, and I don't know if I necessarily disagree with you on that one. Alright, and then, Rosales was saying, "AI art means you need no artistic talent to replace somebody whose talent fed the algorithm." Uh, I could definitely understand that mindset. I don't, necessarily disagree with it, but I don't know that this would replace, like, artists, but it might bring other people up to the point where and I think we'll get into that in this video quite shortly, but it might bring people who don't know exactly how to commission something that they actually want. It might help them develop that skill to actually do that and then get the art that is even better from a real artist. But
Sure.
perhaps this could give them the inspiration or whatever. But once you tried to mess around with AI art, like it really is a little bit more difficult than you'd think to get exactly the picture in your head, especially if you want something specific, like a specific hand gesture or
I
somebody's
am
actual
all
face, like you're
too
gonna be
aware.
doing something. Yeah, you're gonna be doing something to manipulate the image. So, I don't know, there is something artistic in there. If you just want, like, a dragon or, something kinda generic, yeah, I could probably do that, like a cat. But, I don't know, depending on the model of AI, like, even the way that it takes it is kinda different. But there is a certain skill to, learning how to commission, like, the style that you want, the perspective you want. Uh, e a very there's so many different details into it. This could help with that, which isn't the same skill as actually producing the art yourself, but I don't know. I think it could make people more artistic minded in a different way. I don't know that it isn't a little bit more like, yes, we lost really pretty handwriting, but, you know, now that we have, like typewriters or computers, fonts essentially, I don't know. That doesn't diminish the written word. It just definitely changes it. Now these aren't like hand copied manuscripts, like we've got mass produced stuff. I I don't know. That doesn't mean that, you wouldn't put reverence into somebody who actually did, like, hand sketch out with, like, great calligraphy their
Mhm.
entire, like, book. Like, yeah, that's a huge artistic skill, and that is amazing, and I would hold that in
And
higher
that's
regards
actually not
than,
going away
some
either.
paperback. Yeah.
I'm a firm
So,
believer that the niche
I don't
of
know.
human made will be like organic. Like, I mean, like you slapping organic on things, like no AI used, because there will be a niche of people that are very emotionally tied to this. Because I don't want these people to lose their jobs. They're being replaced by robots. Robots aren't humans, therefore bad. Like, I can feel that. I feel it. And that's why the niche
And that's
will
some of the
exist.
argument that's in this video. So I thought that isn't, like, the best, version of your argument, but that was kind of what I'd heard before that, like, not just, people are gonna lose their jobs so bad, but kind of that human element is really the difference, and that would be gone. So I don't know.
After talking with Andrew, I really had some thought on that where it's definitely like the industry is going to wildly change. The
Mhm,
trying to make sure that we're having a conversation between how is this going to affect the industry? Yes, like the art industry. It's going to maybe
mhm,
not replace people, but radically change people's jobs. Much
for
like
sure.
how moving from 2D artistry to 3D animation was insane for the animation industry. Um, that is in my personal opinion, okay, having those jobs change. That's just what's going to happen as art changes throughout history. Where I
Hmm.
kind of feel with people though is the feeling of what is the value of the stuff that humans can make if computers make it better? And it's
Well,
a moral
I think the
argument.
video is gonna kinda
That's for
touch on
sure.
that, but for sure, and I don't know, so you might be able to give a better argument than I think the person in this video excuse
We'll
me,
see.
just smashed spacebar, but, I think it might, fit right into that, but, results came back with, game assets and clip arts have gone under the radar with AI and flooded the markets, making unique assets more affordable. I totally
I'd
agree,
say
and
that is
I
an
kind of view
absolute
this
win.
I think so too, and that's kinda where I view this,
I mean, I
there's a
feel
lot of,
bad
like,
for the
templates or clip
artists,
art
but
or
now you
something
can
that you
pay an
could get
artist for it. Sorry, I keep talking over you. I should
for
stop doing
sure.
that.
No, we might have a slight delay, and I'm also, yakking a lot, so it's all good, man. Um, but, yeah, I just think, like, is it the worst thing to have more unique clip art rather than I'm thinking like uses in the corporate world, uses for, like thumbnails, for instance. Like I think they'll kind of get into this. I keep teasing this video, but they'll get into it. They're not using thumbnails per se, but kind of more flyers. I don't know, something like that. Like I don't know if I'd be able to afford like a great artist doing it. And I think what I'm able to do with AI is above my normal skill level with digital art.
This is
So
why
I
you
don't
need to
know.
be
I
friends
think
with
like
more
it's
artists. Get
for
those
sure,
friends
and I wouldn't be
discounts.
opposed to that, but, even then, I guess they'll kind of get into this, but I think for, things like that where it's like, what would it would take somebody a couple of hours well, like an hour if they're, good at it to come up with everything you need if you gave them kind of I guess it really does depend on the commission of it, 'cause, if you're just doing bad photoshopping, like, you could do that in a couple minutes, but I don't know. It just seems like, the going rate seems to be somewhere around like $30 for a thumbnail or something like that if you're gonna go on the cheap end. I don't know. I'm not sure that I could afford that for everything considering, like, the tininess of the channel and everything. But with AI, like, I think it lets me, hit above my weight class, so to speak, artistically, than at
Sure.
least my skill level. But,
Honestly,
I don't know. That's kinda where I view this as.
that
Mhm.
rate you said, that actually sounds low.
That's what I'm saying, like, I've seen some on, like, Fiverr for, like, $30, and it's like, how good is that gonna be? And then if you, choose no or something, like, then you just waste that person's time where, saying no to,
Yeah. And
the AI,
more
like,
money
it's
does
not
not
nearly the
mean
same thing.
better either. It does not necessarily translate into quality.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Just look at the American
So I
school
don't know, and
system.
then the turnaround time on the art too, like, you'd have to pay for it for, like, a quicker one. So, like, a video long down the road, like, yeah, you might be able to get for kinda cheap, but say you need it, like, within a couple days, you're gonna pay for that premium as well.
Oh, for
So I don't know,
sure.
it just seems like for so many ways, it's a little different, but, I don't know. I perhaps I'm wrong, but I kind of view it as, like, a big asset for that, where normally, people would be doing, like, kind of bad photoshopping or whatever, where you can instead get kind of bad AI art in its own kind of aesthetic, but maybe I'm looking at it too favorably or with rose-colored glasses or whatever,
I don't know, man. I look at Will
but
Smith eating Italian food, that AI video, you know what I'm talking about, as like
yeah,
gold. It's beautiful.
it's it's getting I don't know. I don't know if you can stop it, so I'm just kinda wondering, like, is this I guess we'll get into it, but, yeah, let's kinda go with this, interesting video, if you will. So this is, the Legion of Skanks. They're known as the
Oh,
most
I know who
offensive
they are.
podcast on earth. Yeah, they're kind of fun guys, but, they got into kind of a discussion with, one of their actual artists who does, like, kind of their flyers and announcements, and,
Mhm.
yeah, also one of the guys has been really getting
Graphic
into AI
designers
art, but I
and
thought they
all that.
brought up a bunch of really good, points and questions, if you will. So,
Okay.
yeah, let's kinda get to that.
After after we started posting this AI art, people got very upset. A lot of people were very like
The AI art with Jay.
that not just about
People
Jay.
started getting upset, like, oh,
And also,
I can never look at Jay the same way again.
I didn't prompt
Me
it.
and Christina haven't slept in the same room since that picture came out. She's like, "Is that what you look like? Am I not seeing you?"
Well, here's the thing. Like I've downloaded a few programs now. I downloaded an AI art generator. I downloaded an AI photo editor, which like crops photos. By the way, ever complain about cropping a photo again, Alex? You fucking asshole. Do it again. Complain one more time. I dare you, because it's so easy. I just figured out how easy it is, you bitch.
Bro, cropping is fun. Why would you make it easier? No, I'm kidding. No,
Well,
you
so
really
that's what
like,
I was
that's
going to
so
ask you, kind of
useful.
along these. Yeah, well, that's what I was going to ask you along these same lines. Like, so in the thumbnail that I made, wherever that is. So that's not your actual, logo. I grabbed yours off of Discord, so it was the actual one, but then I put it into an AI upscaler. Like, obviously, it's
I
not
can tell.
correct, and it doesn't look anywhere near as good as your actual one. But I don't know. I thought that was like a decent version versus a very what would we say, grainy, horrible, distorted version of yours. I thought,
Sure.
AI
It looks good
smoothed in a
enough,
weird way
like, as
version.
long as you're not, like, staring at it. I mean, this is how it feels like when people stare at me in real life. You'll see that I'm actually AI.
But yes, obviously your real one is much more illustrious. I should have reached out to you. I was making a thumbnail, I think, like in the middle of the
Oh,
night,
no,
so
it's
I
fine.
decided not to Discord you. But yeah. So do you view those programs the same, or I guess you kind of explained that, but like
So
this
that
obviously isn't your actual art. Like it's AI
yeah,
kind of upscaling and changing it. I don't know. Do
it
you view
is
that the same
making
as like cropping?
so I don't really view it quite the same as cropping. Cropping, because when you're cropping out a photo, that's obviously like you can put man hours into that, honestly. Like that, there's a lot that you could do with just cropping. Um, uh, Getting an AI program to do that for you cuts down on development time. So I see that as a win. With upscaling, it made my art look uglier to me personally, but it still like got the
For sure.
message across on who you were talking to. So it's like I don't see it as too much of a bad thing. I just don't see it as quite the
Okay.
same, if that makes sense. I don't like it because it
Fair
made it
enough.
uglier. Maybe that's there's my my knee jerk reaction.
Fair enough. And I've taken so many hours like trying to like crop something down and do something, but man, these like AI either crop or expand. It is I don't know. It just seems to take so many hours off of it. But we kind of already went over that before. I was just wondering if you saw kind of, I guess that the same way. But it sounds like
For the most part, I think I
you
do.
seem reasonable on this. You're not saying like it has to be actual like man hours put into it. But I mean, like if you're told me that, that's what you did, I would definitely respect it more. I'd see that there's
Yeah,
more of an effort, like
if my entire job revolved around like I spend 10 hours a day, I'm clocked in for 10 hours so I can get an hour lunch in the middle of it, just cropping like X's out of photos. I'd probably
Mhm.
hate my life just
Yeah.
doing that all day. No,
Yeah.
no, that let a robot do that, honestly. Please. I
Fair
beg of
enough.
you.
And I think that's just kind of the way that we're going now, especially since it could be done so much sooner. Like, how would you justify paying somebody like a few hours to actually like go and do that work when you could just throw it into a program and it'll do it in like 5 minutes?
Yeah, and as I
I don't
said,
know.
like, you could do it yourself too. Like, I still enjoy doing that part of the process because I see that as part of like when I draw, I've got an art piece out right now that I'm noodling with as I'm talking to you, and it's
Hell
just
yeah.
one of those things of eventually I'm gonna have to remove the background and put something else there. So that's where the cropping comes in. I just see it as part of the process. I enjoy doing that. If I had to do it all the time, constantly, I would
Yeah,
probably hate it, like I said. So yeah, have a robot do that.
for sure. And I'm sure, you know, like Control C and Control V, like I don't know. Yes, you could hand type everything, but there's little shortcuts that you use because you're doing it repeatedly. Like it just makes things easier. I don't know. I view it kind of that same way. Do you view difference in that because of I don't know, the talent or something, or the actual like sweat put into it? Is there more value to it because you didn't like copy and paste, you just hand did the actual
That's the
whatever it
question,
is?
isn't it? These are
I
these are
think
the
so.
things that I was saying earlier, where it's like, yeah, you might get me to actually make some hardcore like stances here. Um,
Well, you don't have to if you don't want to. We could
I
go
mean,
on, but it might come up later.
I'm definitely feeling like I agree with you on this part, and I do see them
Mhm.
pretty much after some real thought. The tool wise feels the same. As long as it feels like a tool instead of something just doing the entire process for you, then I'll probably accept it.
Fair enough. That seems like an awesome stance. Yeah, I don't know that I would view it differently. I again, like I would view an actual like oil painting in so much higher of a regard than I would an AI generated image. But actually, since I think the last time we spoke, I think I asked everyone like, would anyone hang an AI image on their wall? I do have one now. There is a really beautiful one that I actually got a print of, and I love it. So yeah, hey Andrew,
Nice.
that's awesome, man.
Wait, you
Please
generated
do
it
check it out
yourself or
later.
someone did it for you?
I didn't. I actually bought a print of it. It was amazing, and then it's a really high quality print, almost black light, if you will. It's very awesome. But
Interesting.
yeah, I didn't think I would be buying AI art, and actually, I'm gonna show you probably on like a Future Thinkers or something.
I
I actually
definitely
got
want to
two of
see
them
it.
around the same time, and one is hand done and one is AI, and they kind of have a similar aesthetic to me. So I'd kind of like to get your opinion without telling you which one's which. But
Okay, I'm totally
yeah,
down to
so
like I'll suss out which one's AI. Watch
for
me
sure, they're
be
both just prints,
horribly
so it's not
wrong.
like but, hell yeah. Well, yeah, let's, let them keep going a little bit, and then, you
Yeah.
might come up with a hard position later.
Lewis just found out how much his employers have been stealing from him for the last decade. So, crop a photo, boss. That's going to cost 10 grand.
So I've been making my own posters because I was like, I'm so sick of hiring people to make posters for me. I was like, I'll fucking download a few programs. I posted dude, people are so mad. They're like, dude, hire a fucking real artist, you piece of shit. You can download it. Is there something morally wrong with creating AI art? Do you think there's something morally wrong with using AI to create like poster art?
Can
I'm
I
glad
ask
you
you,
paused it right
put you on the
there.
spot, is there something morally wrong with it?
Morally wrong with making your own poster? No.
Okay.
I think intent does matter here, though.
Mm,
Because I
okay.
think that there is an understandable ethics question that needs to be had here when it comes to, okay,
Hmm,
I want to make the best LeBron James poster ever. And
mhm.
that is using someone else's likeness, and that is a copywritten thing, that people own the rights to their likenesses. I don't know how I feel about that ethically.
Hmm, really?
Yeah,
What about like a caricature of somebody? Like,
then free
do you
reign.
feel dubious about that too? So
A
couldn't AI
caricature is a warped enough likeness that you can tell the difference between the real thing and not. And I think that would be
ooh,
the big
okay.
distinction for me.
Well, let me ask you, one of my previous thumbnails. Sorry, I should be able to upload it like 2 seconds. Oh, okay, great. I deleted it. Awesome.
Oh no.
Well, never mind. So in that, I had Chappelle on. It was an AI image of him. It's not the greatest. You could kind of see him in there, but I don't know. It really gave me caricature vibes. Like if you are now told, so it has the name Chappelle right next to it. I think with
Mhm.
that prompt, you see it as Chappelle, but if not, you just be like, what the hell is this AI weirdness? I don't know. Like, do you view a
It looks like
difference
a
between
skinny
that and like
black
an
man
actual
and
caricature?
like that.
Yeah, pretty much. Holding a microphone. So you never
Okay,
know.
woo, it's Dave Chappelle.
Um, yeah. So I don't know. Like, I'm just kind of wondering,
Hmm.
just since that is an example where I think I've used AI art like as a caricature and it was somebody's likeness. I don't know. Is that morally wrong now?
Man, this is where I'm like, there are parts of me that I definitely agree. And there's other parts of me like, okay, why do I feel twisted up about this? And I got to think about it because if you're not selling it, I think I think that using someone's likeness doesn't matter. not that much. It all depends on the intent, though, for me. Because let's say, okay, there's now possible like law changes going on for regulation for AI because someone made porn of Taylor Swift.
So
Like,
that seems a bit immoral to me, but at the same time, like, I don't know.
There's
Celeb
definitely
fakes used to be
something
a thing where you're
nasty
basically
about that.
photoshopping someone's head on there. So I
Exactly.
don't know. Like, I don't feel morally as wrong as that. I don't know. Somehow the AI video seems worse, but I don't know
I'll
why.
take
I feel like
Kitty's
it's a
stance on
weird
this, actually.
moral thing in my
I
head.
think Kitty's stance is the most sensible stance on that, because I remember that was like two thinkers ago where we were talking about that exactly with Taylor Swift, and
Yeah.
she said it's morally disgusting to me to know that someone created what they thought I looked like naked
Mm.
without my
Fair
consent or
enough.
anything like
And
that.
don't get me wrong, like, I would feel violated and I'd be pissed, but
Yeah.
I don't know if it's technically illegal or
Do
wrong.
I
I just
like
think
it?
it's
Absolutely not. Should it be banned? I'm not sure.
mm.
I do hope this video is going to be
sorry, so
on
he was talking
Kettles and
about
not Chappelle. Oh, okay.
he was talking about Doomer. Yeah, I have no idea what his new video is gonna be on, but I'm sure it's gonna be a banger, especially since he's back to the Doomer moniker. So I'm looking
I
forward
mean,
to it.
I've only
He has
talked to the
embraced
guy
the
once,
Doomerness.
so
Same. I'm in a Discord though. He seems to be back and with a passion. So
there you go.
that's
It's
awesome,
good to
man.
hear.
He's truly embracing his Doomer self and the stoutness. So hell
The
yeah.
stoutness, yes.
Um, but yeah, let's keep going for a bit, and I think
For
we'll get to
sure.
another fun stuff point.
Oh, I just want to
But
make
yeah,
sure I
morally,
did
is it
answer
wrong?
this question. I do not think AI art is immoral generally.
Okay, okay, but it could be used for immoral purposes,
It
right?
could be,
But
yes.
you'd probably say that about art too, right? Like
You're right.
if I were to paint like an amazing oil picture or oil painting of you doing, some horrible acts, like I don't know, that could still be using something beautiful for something horrible. Like
You know what's
I don't
really
know,
funny?
and then it could be a statement.
That has already occurred to me on multiple counts during the years. I have
Mhm.
a lot of artist friends that back in the day, there's a term that goes around in the art circles I'm in, and one of them is "Don't piss me off," or I'm a not safe for work artist. I will draw you getting railed by someone. Don't get me started.
Well, that seems like a weird threat. That seems like art being used for immoral purposes, or
Sure, it's
however you
also
want to put that.
hilarious, but
No, it is. Huh. That
some
is a threat
things
that I
I
wouldn't have
just want
thought
to
that I'd
forget.
have to. Yeah, it's a threat I wouldn't have thought I'd have to like ever think about. But huh. Okay. Well, thank you for
Anyways,
answering the morality question. Moving on.
Not if it does a good job.
I think it did a pretty good job. So here's the thing.
Can we see it?
Yeah, let's see it. I wanna judge it.
This is the question that I
Is that Big
That's
J
it?
again?
that's it.
So that's Luis J. Gomez's AI image that he generated. I so he's just talking about the image. He'll say like the program. He used a different program for the fonts and text and everything.
I was expecting so much more.
Yeah, it's not the worst image. It's
I
not
love
the
the
greatest
offset
image. So his
glasses.
yeah, you could definitely see glitches, especially in the hands. But like I don't hate it. I got to be honest. It
And it
doesn't
doesn't
strike me as like the
specifically
greatest art
look
ever.
like anything either. So I think that this is unique
It
enough.
kind of looks like him. Yeah, fair enough. I think like having his name on there, the fact that it's wearing aviators and is bald, I think you could kind of assume that it's kind of a Lewis ogre, but fair enough. I don't think the text is the greatest. I don't think
No,
his
I think
choice of
that's
colors
awful.
quite works. Everything gets lost there, which I don't think he quite has an
Everything.
eye for. And that is something
What
that
is it?
hopefully an artist would have an eye for.
It looks like 2010 Call of Duty coloring.
Yes, and actually
Like
he loves
Spec
COD.
Ops: The Line
He
coloring.
streams that a lot, so that could be his influence on this. But you can definitely see, and they've got some of the comments up on the side, but their audience was just like tearing him to shreds, saying how horrible this is and how this is the worst ever, and AI art just sucks. I don't know.
Well,
If you saw that, would you think this is the worst ever? I mean, it's not the
well,
greatest poster,
like,
or I guess he's calling it a poster. Yeah.
well, from what I can see, because I
Mhm.
have you on my side stuff. Like I can kind of see. There we go, I'm trying to zoom in here and take a look at it. Um, it looks like a parody of a Hulk art, like a Hulk splash
Yes,
art generally.
for sure.
And I think it's fine.
And
I do not find this to be appealing art to me. Um,
fair
like
enough.
it's just not my thing. But I know people that would
It
actually would really
doesn't.
like it.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it doesn't scream comedy to me, and like, hey, I need to go see this guy. But I think it would appeal to his audience. They have kind of like a metal audience. I think this would appeal. The name of his tour is Meaty Ogre, which is,
There you go.
kind of a fun play on
I
words.
think it's
So it's kind
fine.
of on that
And
theme.
I'm not sure if he's
Uh,
selling those. I think that there is a little bit of an issue, just a little bit, if he is selling the stuff and he's not disclosing that it's AI made or something. He is obviously
I don't
disclosing it's
think he
AI
is
made, so
selling. I was gonna say he's 100% disclosed that it's AI art, and their audience is just like going ape shit on him. Which fair enough. I mean, like it did kind of some stupid things. The one that I cut out that he showed
well, it's definitely
before
a contentious
was
issue, but
it was
I
the
don't
three
know.
of them as skeletons, and it made one of the skeletons fat, which makes no
That's
sense. Like,
funny.
but fair enough. So that was kind of what they were talking about right before this. So like it definitely makes mistakes like that, but it's kind of a weird aesthetic to me, and I kind of dig that AI art aesthetic. But again, maybe I'm biased. I don't know, but I don't think this is the perfect flyer or anything like that. I don't know that it would necessarily entice me, other than I know who Luis J. Gomez is, and hell yeah, if I saw my city there, I'm going to it. But I
There
don't
you
know. It
go.
doesn't seem like
Even
the
though
most
it's just the
inspiring, but
worst fonts I've ever seen on this coloring.
well, just
This
wait.
this is
There
where the
might be
artist's
fonts that
eye
you hate
needs to
more.
be. This is where the artist's
Exactly.
eye, like, eventually, if he kept making more and more of these, he would get good every time.
And I
Um,
think he is. So he kind of goes on about it, but yeah, and that is a good point.
if you
Oh,
could read the text.
Danga Usagi.
Odonga
Yeah,
Usagi.
yeah. I agree. The fire loses most of Lewis and part of Gomez, and then you can't see like any of the dates. Mediocre gets a little bit lost. It would be awesome if they did something like added some kind of either outline, outer glow, something to make it stand out, or even like a background, or just a different font. Just it gets lost, and the coloring is just yeah.
Inconsistent
But like you
lighting
mentioned,
is really
it's
driving me nuts looking at it.
yeah, I could see that. But I don't know. How long do you think it would take you to draw an image like that?
To draw an image
And
like
then
that. Um,
yeah,
so it's not my art style, so it would take me longer than usual. But getting the
for sure.
general vibe down, that would take me 30 minutes tops.
Okay. Fair enough. You were much faster than me. Like for me, if I was to do something
I'm
like
not even
that, like
very
shit,
fast.
it would
No,
take me
I'm
like a
talking like
week.
as
Like
rough
I
as
don't know.
possible. Because the first thing I like to do is like little art lesson time. The first thing I like to do is I look at my reference, and then I will, and this is different for everyone, but this is how I personally do it. But it's like I'll try to visualize. Okay, so we've got this big brick of a man. I need to break that down into shapes in my mind. And I mean the roughest shapes that could be so I can put them together, get the general silhouette, and then I start building. Um, that's it always starts with the roughest look, and then you refine and refine and refine and refine until you get to the end product. I'm talking it would take me about 30 minutes to get the pose and then drop the colors because the colors really are what
Oh,
bother me here. But like that's not the
yeah.
point. Like, I
And
think it
I
looks
I
fine.
think he generated it all as one image. So I don't know. Like if it were
I
me,
think
I
it
would
needed a
definitely be
couple more
removing the
passes in
background,
the
getting a
oven.
better background. For sure. And he kind of talks about that as he's going on, but This is one choice of his. That was. Sorry, reading the comments.
No, they made that one too
That is
muscular.
okay, I'll say I saw this flyer. The first thing I
You
thought
put it
when
up,
I
pull it
saw
up,
it
Alex.
was I go, oh, Lewis has a cool flyer for his store coming out.
Pull it
That's
up.
great.
Keep it
That's
up.
Lewis.
That
That was
would-
my first thought.
yeah.
I didn't think it was AI. I go, oh, fuck.
I wouldn't
It's,
have ever thought it either.
That's a
I think
cool
it's pretty
flyer.
good, honestly.
awesome.
It's not bad. Here's the thing. I
But
also-
so it's replacing some jobs and no Mexicans come into the country? That seems like a win-win to me.
But also, like, I didn't just simply
Yeah,
just
they're
make
known
say,
as
hey,
the
make me a
most
show
offensive
poster. No,
podcast.
I fucked with it for a while, created different images, kept on putting those images back into the AI,
I've
kept
only
on
ever
changing.
Do you know how
seen
much
the
cropping
Legion
I
of
had to do?
Skanks on other shows, so this is surreal for me.
They are amazing. I just love these guys. Oh, hey, Renown. What's up, sir? Yeah, I literally
Hello,
just
sir.
watched that right before this. There was a really cool debate. It was Shad, and I can't remember who it was, and then versus two guys who were just for manual art, traditional art. They seem to hate anything AI. It's really kind of a cool debate. I don't know that it necessarily solves it. It seems like two people that hard positions that don't really, or I guess four people, but two positions that
This
are hard
just
that they
it's
don't
not
really
a black and white
get
issue,
past.
and it bothers me when
I
people
agree.
try to take black and white stances on the grayest of issues.
The gray, man. You always need the
Don't
gray.
get me started with George
Uh,
Alexopoulos. I love that man's art, but he's got the worst takes. He's very much like talking about authenticity is very important, which sure it is. Which is why disclosure is important. That's about as far as I take it.
Yeah, and they had some interesting positions. I definitely didn't. I would like to go back and kind of rewatch it.
If I
I
wanted
was
to
listening to it at
truly
2 times
criticize
speed,
what he
and I
said,
think I'd like to.
I would need to go back and look.
And then, sorry, Super Pooch was asking me if I'm going to Skankfest this year. I want to so bad. I did not buy tickets the day, so I am not sure if I even can at this point. Odanga Uzugi. Sorry, I can't wait for Shane Gillis on SNL. Yeah, that is interesting. Definitely
like
something I
him.
want to
He's
approach
funny.
in a different video. Yeah, but like he was hired on to SNL and then fired before he ever got to actually perform on there, and then now he's coming back
Dang.
to host it, I think, next weekend. So
Is it because he
interesting.
did
A lot
his
has
like
happened in like 3 years.
what it's like having Down syndrome bit? It's just
No, they were cool with that one. He gets
somehow
that
they were
card.
cool with that one.
He was doing kind of Asian slurs and an Asian accent on his
Oh,
comedic
no.
podcast. So yeah, a lot of people kind of came after him. But yeah,
Whatever
I
shall he do?
to answer Super Pooch's question, I wish I was going to Skankfest this year. I think it's the last year in Vegas. So it sounds like an amazing event. I didn't get tickets already, so I don't think I'm going, but I wish I was. But hell yeah. Let's keep going for a second.
Sure.
Oh shit. Then I'm
then I had to
No
take-
thanks
actually
to Alex.
hell yeah.
Once
Thanks for
after
that
I was
update.
done doing that, I had to put it into a poster making program to put all the fucking tour dates and all that other shit. It was a 45-minute project. Instead of paying somebody fucking 30 or 40 bucks to do it, which is like the going rate for people to do these posters, I did it myself. That was that, right?
So how many hours did it take you to make this?
Maybe it took me 45 minutes.
Wow.
45 minutes.
Pretty good.
So you value yourself at $30 an hour. That's what you're telling me right now. You said it maybe costs $30, $40, and you spent 45
Yeah,
minutes
it
doing
was.
this.
I probably
You're
I
already
should have
wrong.
just hired
You're
somebody.
already
That next one's not as good.
That's not.
Yeah, I actually like that one.
These are
right
probably
there.
all these. No, these are making you fat at all.
That one looks a lot better.
They're making you.
So this is another AI one. I don't know.
Oh,
I kind of dig
definitely.
it. Again, it doesn't really look like him. The hands are fucked up. He's got Ninja Turtle hands with,
You're
or no,
right.
even that. I think they only had 3 fingers instead of 4. So I don't know. It's
It
not
looks like
perfect,
an
but
alien.
for like a one-off poster, I don't know. To me, yes, and that's the thing. Like it's supposed to be an ogre, so they could.
Also,
I guess I won't go
if
there
you
with
look
that
at the
stupid
mouth,
joke.
look at that mouth.
Yeah,
It looks like they
Yeah.
used the spread tool to like warp things outwards. You know what I'm talking about?
yeah.
It looks like they did that right at the
And the
bottom
cigar
of the
doesn't
mouth.
exactly.
And the cigar, yeah,
Mhm.
that's I don't know. Like it does not win up to scrutiny, but in terms of I know what the art style is, that this looks like almost like the GTA art style, actually.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's what he went to rip off. I'm guessing he did put that in there because that's just like 100% GTA style and the lettering even. I think again he kind of screwed up with the Gomez. Like it kind of gets lost in that palm tree up there. But
Yup.
I don't know for his Key West gig. Like
This
I
is a
don't know,
bit
that
better.
looks pretty decent. Again, and on the tickets at skanks.com, lewisofskanks.com, kind of gets lost in there. I would either choose like a different font or a different outline or even different color, but
Mm-hmm.
everything else on there is legible, I think. But
Sure,
I
I
don't
like
know.
the
This sounds,
jacket. The jacket works with the green skinned man. Like I understand
Usagi. My bad.
Usagi. Okay.
Yes. Wow. Wow. Okay. So that's a fan of Krakamiko. That is awesome. Yes. Fair enough. Okay. Let's keep going for, but I like this one a little bit more. So he did a few different ones, but it seems like this is, he's using it for like a one-off gig, or it looks like this is a weekend. And these are just kind of one thing. Normally he'd be paying $40 for it. Maybe he's not the best at coming up and telling an artist, what exactly he wants. I don't know. This seems like a decent tool to get something like this. And that's kind of where I
For
view
sure.
like my thumbnails. It just seems like it's, kind of a decent tool where I can get this done. And, when I hopefully one day get to the place where I could afford like a better artist, yeah, like do it way better than I can do with this program. Like, hell yeah. I think
I
an
think
artist
that their
wouldn't
role,
let the lettering get lost in there. I think they
yeah,
would do
for
that a
sure.
lot better.
And this is actually what I was about to say. It was like this can get you like 40%, maybe 70% there in terms of creative vision. If you really mess with it for a very long time where it's almost not worth it, I bet you could get completely what your vision is. This is what you're paying for when you can pay an artist to do stuff. You're getting their creative vision to do the work for you, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
And I think it again, we'll kind of be getting into it, but there's a certain skill that goes into like getting what you envision in your head, being able to, convey that to the artist. And I
Yep.
think it does teach you in a way to do that so much better.
It is
I know
actually
when I
a
first started.
wonderful thing. It's called observation.
Yeah,
It is a
for
learnable
sure.
skill
And
that everyone has.
mhm. And I don't know. I think it could lead some people who are traditionally not as artistic. I know I've gotten commissioned work and then they tell me, "Oh, just do it your way. Like I'll be fine with it." And then when I do it my way, they're like, "Oh, that's not it." It's like, "Okay, well, what would you like to change?" Like, "No, I trust you."
Yep.
It's like, you got to tell me something. Like I
Yep.
can't just. So this is for like voiceover stuff, but it's the same type of deal.
I
Hey,
know
what's
exactly
up,
what the
Corona
heck you're
Kid?
talking about. That's it. That is
Yeah,
annoying as
so it's
heck.
like,
I was working with someone for a year because they kept doing that. There was
yeah,
you get the full creative freedom, do whatever you want. All I want is this one thing to be included. Okay, I'd make that the centerpiece. That's not what I wanted. What are you
Mhm.
talking about? Let's just go right back up to those earlier DMs.
Yeah, and I just think that's, one thing that this can really help is that skill set. So maybe this will never be the person who like, actually puts pen to paper and does this themselves, but now it can teach them how to actually like ask for what they want because they'll kind of get into it, but getting like specific hand gestures or something, it's very
It's
difficult. And
so
I don't know
hard.
if Lewis is at that point yet where he, could actually use like control net, go into certain parts, like just sketch out the finger, like whatever hand signal he's trying to do. I, I'm not sure. But it would be very, amazing if he does keep progressing in this. But if
Mhm.
he doesn't, now he knows how to tell the art or yes, the artist, here's the style that I want, here's the kind of font that I want, here's the feeling that I want, this kind of angle. There's a lot that goes into the prompts. I'm not sure how far he's going into it, if he's using like negative prompts or anything like that.
I bet
I
you at
know
this
he's not
point he
quite
is
the
going
control
that
net
far.
level.
He
He is doing
maybe
like
after
image to
this, he
image,
definitely
but
is doing that.
hmm,
Because
I
eventually you
hope
just
so. I
get
hope
to
he keeps
that point.
progressing. Mhm,
If you really like what you're doing,
for sure.
you're gonna gain more expertise in it. This is a form of expertise that you can gain. And honestly, this is what I was saying about observation. But like that, learning how what looks good is an art skill, and it's
Yeah,
something that
and
you
he
are
might not have thought
building
of, like,
while
perspective
working with
or
this.
anything like that before. And he's obviously not thinking about, like, lighting or anything like that, like, with the previous one, like, the lighting was definitely off, so I'm guessing he didn't use any prompt for any specific
I
lighting,
mean, the
but
lighting's off for this one too.
yeah, fair enough. Again, I don't think he's actually doing, like, a separate background and a separate foreground, but he might. Like, this has a bold outline. It very well could just be pasted on there, but I'm not sure. He doesn't go
Maybe
quite into the specifics,
it fits
but
somewhat thematically, at least. So
Yeah, for sure. And again, it fits the mediocre tour. But
yeah,
yeah, I guess let's let them keep going for just a second. But yeah, we'll see a real artist take on
Dude,
this.
severely more muscular than you've ever been.
So here's the thing. One of the people that got mad at me was a friend of the show that submitted a poster.
Santa Claus?
Submitted a.
The person said that. The ogre got fucked up hands. Pay an artist. Look at the angry of that.
Damn.
Relax.
Oh,
got a
wow.
point.
People do get pissed off, huh?
Yeah, people. Yeah, they're not happy. So listen, one of the people that got upset was a friend of the show that does graphic
Correct,
design
Usagi.
that submitted a poster for me for the tour, the mediocre tour, and she hit me up. She's like, "Hey, I do this." She was like, "I'd love to do it," and I was like, "Yeah, submit something. If I like it, I'll pay you for it. I'll use it. That'll be that."
You think I'm just going to give you $40 when I can put in 3 hours of labor myself? Make this happen?
But then when she
Not
a trade-off.
needy enough.
when she submitted to me, I did not love. Like I just didn't like it, so I didn't end up hiring her to do it, and that was that. But I started posting the stuff, and then she started posting like comments underneath it, being like gross, fucking shitty. And this person, by the way, the person she's here right now, her name is Erin. So Erin,
Hello.
you got very upset with me. You started
Yes.
posting. You started posting things to me, being
boy,
like
I wonder
gross,
how this is
shitty.
gonna go.
Yeah.
You didn't like it. You were not happy.
Correct.
Why not?
I mean, they're only like the most offensive podcast ever, and that is, what they
She's
go with. That is
already
part of their core
pissed.
values. Yeah, well, I mean, she went to every one of his posts and apparently was like, "This is gross. This is fucking ugly."
Yeah, she
so
took
fair
it very
enough.
personally that a person chose AI over her.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like, I guess they don't ask her if AI art is morally ethical, but yeah. Fair enough. But yeah,
took
I
her
think she knows where she's
gerbs.
coming to. She is a fan, so I think she would have to know like how confrontational Lewis is and everything. But
Sure.
yeah, you're right. She is she's going into the lion's den here for sure.
Yep. I'm
If there's
am
one-
at the edge of my seat.
Soapbox I stand on, it said I don't believe in Canva or AI or anything else that takes away from art, especially graphic designers.
Oh, wait.
So,
Can you run
I
that back
think
one
that
more
was
time,
pretty-
please? I just want
I
to make
think
sure
that
I
was
heard
pretty
right.
extreme. Okay. Sorry, I think we're about
If there's one
here.
soapbox I stand on, it said I don't believe in Canva or AI or anything else that takes away from art, especially graphic designers.
Interesting.
So that's what I was going to say. I think she holds kind of a strange position that I don't think you hold.
Okay.
I mean,
I think I know what
get
it is too.
You're not going to put Canva on like the same level as, like somebody actually like hand designing everything, hand lettering a poster or something like that. But I don't know. Would you say because somebody used Canva, it's not art or it's not artistic or it's just, I don't think you're necessarily
Let
against
me
templates,
ask
are you?
what Canva is. It does not ring a bell.
So a lot of people use it for like thumbnails and stuff. They're going to kind of explain it in a second, and they're going to use it. They're going to show how a lot of people have used it for like comedy shows, for like the flyers and stuff. It's a bunch of templates, essentially. You can have like a paid or an unpaid one. If you do the unpaid one, you've got the same few templates that everybody else has. It's all going to kind of look the same.
Okay.
They'll kind of get into it. But do you think because somebody uses like a template or something, it is inherently less artistic?
I think that using templates is a good way to train and learn how to do it yourself without using the template. I think it's a training tool.
Fair enough.
But
And that
you
was
can start
kind
with
of
a template
what I had
and
gotten
still
from you
come up with your
before.
own like it back in the day with
Mhm.
DeviantArt. Okay, DeviantArt was a big thing.
Oh yeah.
And all the Sonic OCs and everything that can go on over there. But it's like there was DeviantArt, there was Tumblr, and DeviantArt specifically was very popular for being able to find people who have already made posed mannequins, and they would freely tell you, "Hey, use this. Just credit me for the pose." And that's how it
Yeah.
went. And people were making their own unique pieces of art just using that as the base. I think it still has the
Mhm.
same value. Like
Fair enough.
you're
I think that's
you're
really
using it
progressive.
as long as it's not like a what's a good way to put it? I'll use DeviantArt again as an example. Saying I'm making a Sonic OC, so I'm going to take an image of Sonic and use a paint bucket to make him red and give him black eyes. I bet you could find that. I definitely don't value that the same as just using a pose. It all depends on the amount of
Fair enough.
Transformativeness, but there's already a snag with using that. I understand that there's an issue there that is a little glaring.
And I thought this lady had I think her name is Erin, but now I'm second guessing myself whether I remembered it correctly. I think she has kind of a unique position that I didn't think you had. I thought this was kind of a big difference. Like, like I am assuming because somebody has like a template to their thumbnails, you wouldn't say that they're inherently less like creative
not
just
really.
because they're kind of doing the art within those restraints. I assume you would expand that to other things as well, like posters or whatever. So you didn't seem as rigid as her to me, but I don't know. It just seems a little arbitrary to me.
She
where
feels
she
to
draws
me
the
like
line.
she's going to make a no true Scotsman argument.
I feel like it, but I don't want to mind read for her. But
Okay.
interesting prediction.
Wait, what was the first thing you said? What's Canva?
Canva.
What's that?
It's like a shitload of templates, and every shitty comedy show uses Canva, and you can use free ones or you can use paid ones. And every time you see a shitty comedy show flyer that looks exactly like another one, it's because somebody went on Canva and used the free mode.
Can you pull up an example?
I
of
use it
Canva?
exclusively.
Like what? Can you just show me what? Because I want to think if I could recognize what that looks
I
like.
feel like this is like photographers complaining about people using their iPhone to take pictures now. So this is that's not bad. That looks pretty
just
good
how
to
it
me.
works.
That's Canva.
When your
Yeah,
iPhone is
I
the
mean-
best camera you've got, why wouldn't you use it?
Yeah, and if it's always in your pocket, but does that take away from like some amazing photographer? Like, wouldn't that amazing photographer still have more of a work of art than the picture you took of your dog or whatever? But it's a memory that you can kind of go back to. I don't know. Like, I don't think it necessarily takes away, but again, I might be an idiot.
I won't answer that question.
Oh, sorry. It looks like Usagi was comparing you to Dave. So Dave is Dave Smith. He's the dude on the far left of this.
No,
You
don't
might
compare
have
me to
seen
that
him
man.
before.
No, I
Hey,
can't.
Dave Smith is based, so if you don't want to be like Dave Smith, fair enough.
He makes
I don't agree with him on
libertarians look
everything,
bad.
but hey, Libertas is an amazing special, and I stand by that. Check that special out.
I
It's
am
very
not a libertarian,
but
but I have a
hilarious.
lot of libertarian sympathies and intuitions. So it's like
I
Dave
also do
Smith
not
is just
identify
a
that
little
way,
too
and
much. Bit too much.
I couldn't vote for them just because they're always interesting candidates, to say the least. But I don't know, man. Dave Smith is based on a bunch of issues, and especially when it comes to comedy. So check out Libertas. You might feel differently about
might
him, even
have
if
to
you don't
look him
agree
up.
with him politically.
Canva.
That's in Canva.
Yes.
Santa Claus.
So that's
These are all-
Canva.
These are all templates for.
But
Right.
okay. Was that just for laughs? That last one? I feel like I've
Yeah,
seen a
you've
lot of
seen it
these.
before.
I've seen a lot of these in my life.
All right, let's pause it.
Yeah,
real quick.
they're just it's
Okay.
templates.
Well,
Okay, there's literally nothing wrong with using these.
Yeah,
You're just being
it
looked
seems
down
like,
upon
like in
because it's
corporate
a
stuff.
free. It's a free thing.
Yeah, and they've got thumbnails for YouTube where it's like the correct like size and proportion template or whatever. Like I don't know. It just feels like it's a shortcut. I know in the corporate world we had a version much like this that we'd use like our corporate flyers and shit.
Of course.
I don't know. I don't think it's super artistic or anything like that, but I think it's easier than having somebody who's not artistic come up with a flyer, and
It's
it may
less
not even look
creative
as good as
because
this template.
you're using
sure.
this. But like that's
Yeah.
the only reason I would devalue it. I'm not really like
Fair enough, and I agree with you. I don't think anyone's going
Yeah.
to say that this is way more creative.
I
Somebody
feel
might
like
say
now it's
something with
such a
AI just
weird
because it's
thing to
not.
bring up.
Yeah, I agree. So I thought that was a completely weird and abstract hill to die on. Apparently, she wants to die on that hill, but
Oh,
or
boy.
stand on that soapbox. I can't remember how she phrased it, but
Standing
yeah,
on
I
the
thought that's
soapbox.
definitely going to differ from you in your opinion.
Yes.
But yeah, let's
Go
Yeah,
back a
by the
second.
way-
I'll tell you what they saved on artistic fees. They were able to get Chad Gibbons on the show.
Ooh, he's good.
The Chad Gibbons.
it's I like to have a cool looking like fucking little flyer or whatever, but it's just not that important.
Yeah,
It is.
like,
No,
I
it
don't
is.
really-
You're wrong about
Yeah,
that.
also,
It
by the way,
is? You think it really
Montreal
is?
doesn't pay the comics. You think they're going to pay an artist for a flyer?
Good point.
I imagine.
Wouldn't-
sorry, what were you saying?
Oh, they totally would. Like they totally would not pay for it. It's like we have a replacement right here.
No.
We don't need to pay you. That's why those things exist.
And And that's the thing, like, when I was in a band too, like, we'd have to come up with, like, the shitty flyers for it, like, no club is going to actually, like, print those out or care, and, like, we'd have to come up with, like, any sort of advertisement online,
Mhm.
anything that we're gonna put on, like, Twitter or Facebook or whatever, back in the day, MySpace. Yeah, it's weird. So it's like, I feel like we were limited as artists where, yeah, we could ask our artistic friends, but we were, broke ass musicians. It's not like we had a ton. So oftentimes we would take like, even before we had Photoshop, like then we moved to crappy Photoshop and that was kind of our aesthetic. But before that, it was like magazines, like you'd tear out pictures and like put words over it and stuff. It wasn't great. I don't know that it necessarily attracted like a huge crowd or anything like that. But I don't know. It just seems like AI art for like the broke person who needs art for something. It could really help even the playing field, if you will. But yeah, it's probably not on the same level as if they hired an artist. But could you hire an artist? I don't know.
That's why
how
these
important do you
things
think
need to
art
exist.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't afford it, hey Lucy
Hey,
Lovegood.
Lucy.
Um,
Awesome to see you.
so if you this is why these free assets exist. These things exist for those who cannot.
Essentially.
If you can't,
Yeah.
these things are here. This is why, like, that's fine. I have no problem with that. That is completely neutral in my mind. I don't see a problem with those things existing at all.
Fair enough. And to answer Usagi's question, yeah, it was
Collage
essentially
art.
like stupid magazine collage
This
art.
scrapbooking?
Yes, we made a vision board and hoped that people showed up to our shows. Yeah, it was essentially like that level of artwork. It wasn't great. It was kind of a vision board though.
I bet you it
not
looked
great.
great. I would love to see a picture of this.
Not good. I do have to dig up some of those old flyers, but yeah, not good. But I'll let them kind of keep going. But yeah, I kind of view it as a good. I don't know. AI seems to be very helpful for that.
You don't pay the people on the fly.
They don't pay anyone.
I think it's important to have a cool looking flyer. Yes, I 100% do.
Yeah.
I think it sends a message that you're a professional, that you have a professional looking flyer. The point is, Aaron, the flyer that you submitted was not
Can we see
professional
it?
looking.
Here. Okay.
I want to see it.
So yeah.
I really hope it's stick figures.
I did have a few people that thought it was phenomenal, but fair enough.
So this is the poster that Aaron submitted.
I like.
What
So
is going on there?
Any thoughts on this? This is done manually. She's going to explain how long it took her and what her idea behind it is. But you know how you were insulting the text on the other one? Any thoughts on the font or text on this one?
So the obvious image that grabs me the most is what's confusing the hell out of me at the moment. But the scrapbook text right there, I think, is just fine. I like the yellow, but it seems too small. I think it would need to be resized a bit, and maybe put
Yeah.
that image, that horrible image, behind it all, maybe a little bit, or allow some
I
overlap.
just don't see the. I mean, there's a lot of dates up
And I
there.
would
I
put
don't
the
see
mediocre
those
tour at
reading
the
well
top.
over that. Yeah, I could see that. I do kind of know where they're going with this, so I don't want to just copy their criticism. But yeah, I like your points. I think they might bring up almost all of those in just one moment. But
Well, I
yes,
think
you definitely
it's
have an
allowed
artistic
to
eye.
exist. This person definitely didn't make something that. Sorry, what is the guy speaking? The guy that was making the mediocre tour and all that. What's his name?
That's Louis J. Gomez,
Okay, Lewis.
the Puerto Rican rattlesnake.
Yeah. So I don't know him very well. So I just like I.
Oh,
I
he's the
didn't
point
know.
guard of podcasting.
Gotcha. Obviously
He's
he
an
didn't
awesome
like.
dude.
Obviously he didn't like this image, and frankly, I don't like it very much either. I would not pay for that. I would be like, we need to make some revisions.
Well, that's kind of where he went with it. And instead of making revisions, he just decided to do it himself on, through AI art.
Like Corona
And,
Kid
he
said,
went
what is
that
it
route.
supposed to be?
That is a good question. Yeah. Yeah, well, that is the one thing that Louis J brought into this is, okay, my tour is going to be called the Mediocre Tour. Kind of a fun play on words. But I guess that's the real artist's take on mediocre, but
More like
fair enough.
mediocre.
Let's let them. Well, that's the joke right there. But yeah, let's let them cook a little bit. I think they've got some things to say.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I do like that, actually.
So did some other people that thought it was great.
Well,
TJ
I will
Miller
say,
loved it.
okay.
DeRosa loved it.
I'm
Those
gonna
are
go
the
in here.
people
That's
are
what they
not
said to your
me.
face.
No. DeRosa gave me that face like he knew he was gonna hate it, and then he actually saw it, and he gave me that face like, oh
See,
fuck, I
what
actually like
is
it.
that?
You know?
I can't tell.
So that's it zoomed in a little bit more. So it looks better without all those dates at the top, but I don't know. Even zoomed in now, it's
So-
pretty hard to read his name. So like, what are you going to, the mediocre tour? Like,
So let's see.
I don't know.
Trying to break this down, it looks like she took a whole bunch of images and bashed them all together and tried to use effects to stretch over to make that
Oh wait, it's
look
a
the way it
dude.
is.
Indeed.
The right arm.
So
just
she's going to
being
explain kind
there
of what she was
drives
going for
me
in a minute.
Crazy.
Yeah, I don't enjoy it, and like the background again being blurred and everything.
And the huge
I don't
hands.
know. I guess he's in like a goblin village, or I don't know. Like it's interesting, but
Yeah,
I don't know.
don't
Looking
let
at it a
them
little bit
cook.
closer. We'll allow it. We are watching the most offensive podcast. I think you can assume gender in the artwork, but that's okay. That's true. Lewis's face is sort of in there, but
I'm sure she's about to
Yeah.
get the roasting of a lifetime for this submission that she's butthurt over.
yeah, it might not be the greatest, but yeah, let's let them kind of give their opinions on it.
But that's Lewis.
No,
And
I can
he's
tell.
been-
So
I can
here's
tell
the
it's
deal.
Lewis, but let me say Lewis's name. I like the name
Would you
of the
believe
tour
me
and
if I
Lewis's name
said
there,
I would
and all the
believe you
around
if
it.
that was AI
That
generated?
superimposing of Lewis.
Well, I'm wondering. So she explains how long it took her to do this. So I'm thinking they were either assets or it was AI generated, and then she put the picture of Lewis on there. But I may be getting ahead of myself on this. I wanted to get your opinion on it. But I think
Okay.
she's about to explain what her idea or concept for this was.
Lewis
Okay.
in front of that doesn't look.
That
good.
looks.
I agree.
What are we talking about? It looks retarded.
No, I like
it looks like I gave a retarded person a computer and I said, "Hey, do something with it." And an hour later, I came back and they were chewing on the keyboard.
Where
And
is,
this is what was being put on the fucking computer.
Where is
Well, pretty impressive to chew on a keyboard and spell everything perfectly.
Stop being so nice.
Okay, space.
Erin's a big girl.
All right,
She's gonna
Lewis,
take it.
Lewis.
This is crazy.
You know what? Here's the deal. I did make a big mistake. Here's the mistake I made.
Yes.
What I did before I made this poster
Heroin.
was I
Doing
studied
something nice for Lewis.
I studied design trends for 2024 instead of trends that Limp Bizkit would have rejected in 2004, like the ones you made.
Pause.
Lewis did it all for the.
Pause. Okay, there's one major
So this
freaking
is
problem
just-
here.
It's 2024 design trends, so we just don't get it yet. This is what everything's going to look like. We're just only in the infancy of it. That's the problem.
Oh, it's worse than that.
This
though,
was
Trey.
a week ago or so.
This is I'm paying you to make a product, and that's nice, a nice idea and all for what you want. But here's what's better. That is not a client to artist relationship there. You're paying to get a product
Yeah.
that you want. So you don't go, I think this is better, so I did this instead. You don't do that. It's like
Yeah.
if you paid a construction worker to make you a house and they said, I thought that this part of the frame wasn't very, like, I didn't like it very much, so I just did my own thing. Would you be happy with that?
Yeah, it would be kind of shitty to be like, yo, you asked for this particular art style, but that's stupid. So I did it this way. I don't know. I'm not sure if
I
your
would
client's
never
gonna be
be
happy
paid.
with that.
I would never have clients.
Fair enough. I mean, I'm guessing all he said was, sure, make a poster. It's called the Mediocre Tour.
Sure.
And she is a fan, so I think she took her own stab at it. But I don't know, man. It
This is
definitely
why you
seems.
ask for what do you want and give me a little bit of a
Yes.
description.
And
Not,
I
oh, do
think
what you
he
want.
is much better at it now that he's been screwing around with AI art. I think he actually can kind of think of that. What would he want? What would he actually, the style? I'm pretty sure he did like the GTA style for that particular one that really gave GTA vibes, the Key
Yeah.
West one. I couldn't think of where in Florida it was. And then I don't know what kind of prompt he did for the other one, but I think he now knows how to commission art where I don't think he did before this. And he's still working on it. So I don't want to spoil it at the end, but I don't think his journey is over. But
Okay.
Yeah, she kind of goes a little bit further into what she was thinking, but it's not what I anticipated. But once she says it, it's like, oh, that's what you were doing. Yeah.
Nookie, come on, the Nookie.
Come on, the Nookie. I don't blame him. It must
She
be great.
wrote that line and flubbed it. Can you pull up my mediocre tour poster, the one
Yeah,
that I
let's pull it
made?
up again. No, and here's the other. So here's the point I want to make, and this is a dead ass point. I don't mean to be dead ass serious, but here's the point. When I was a kid, the reason that I never became an artist and ended up working an office job instead is because every time I saw something, I realized you don't make money as an artist, you don't make money as an artist. So if AI,
You have to get
hold on,
good,
no, time
you
out, time
psycho.
out. I'm good. You've seen other shit I've done. I can pull up receipts, and that's also decent. Now let me go on. That's not the point. We're not talking about good or bad on the art. We're talking about the point.
We're literally
so
talking
little
about
kids,
good or bad on the art.
little kids, no matter what kind of art, whether it's a comedian, a traditional artist, a dancer, they will think I can't make money doing that and won't try doing it because they'll think an AI can fucking do it now. A hologram can do it now.
I don't know. Do you think that's a good point? Do you have a take on that point?
I empathize with a bit of the emotion there on that. We really don't know where it's going to go. There is a possibility that a lot of jobs will be radically changed or phased out in the worst case scenario. I refuse to believe that the worst case scenario is exactly what's going to happen because like people care about art and making art still. Even like the most stubborn person still appreciates art.
Yeah, I mean, so I know it's not 100% analogous, but like, there's some really beautiful candles and there's some really amazing skill that goes into candle making and, what particular like scent or how long it burns or other features, multiple wicks or whatever. But, we don't necessarily use them all the time. Instead, we have moved to electricity and, even light bulbs. Like there are some artisan light bulbs. People like those, they enjoy them, they pay more for them, but nowadays like everything's like LED. I don't know. I view this as kind of progress, but that doesn't mean that there isn't going to be I don't know. I always shudder when I hear the word progress, but
I think it's a slight leveling of the playing field because I've seen this take all over Twitter about this type of conversation. It's because it's leveling the playing field a bit in terms of AI art can be of high quality and look really good, which is even more incentive for the artist that is only okay to get even better. Because this is a little
and
bit
I think it will also Sorry, I was going to say it could make the people who are commissioning the artists better at understanding what exactly they want and, getting that particular product that they're actually looking for. I mean, I guess that's horrible for me to refer to it as the end result that they're looking for, that commission piece. It might be able to help them actually get the artist.
Gray. I'm like, it is a business transaction for me to make art for people. I am not the person that has the rose tinted glasses with the flowery language. I understand it is me making you a product. I just really like doing it. And I would prefer to do that for the rest of my life.
And Segi brings up, who thinks let me be an artist because I'm going to make money now? That's a really good question. Did you ever get into art because you thought you were going to make money?
No, I did
Again,
not.
I got more heavily into music, but like money wasn't a factor. Like I knew I was going to be poor as shit doing it. I just love doing it.
Well, I picked up art because of an interest. I started doing commissions because I saw other friends of mine that were artists that were better than me open up for commissions and then become better artists over time. So I just saw a little bit of a correlation there. So me and my small community, I started doing like really cheap art, and I mean, it did not pick up. Like I had like 1 to 2 people give me $10 a year, and it's only like gone up by like maybe 2 to 5 people, maybe 10 if I'm like really busy of people a year. But like that,
the quality is going up, right?
The quality is certainly going up because that's me getting more hours in and working on perfecting this skill, using all of my eye techniques in terms of I'm looking at all the references that I need. I'm able to break those down. I've learned all these things over time, and anyone can do that. But about the
Yeah.
money thing, I remember telling my grandpa. We went to a family reunion, and in my family, they were huge family reunions. I have a lot of
True.
cousins, a lot of them. Oh, thank you, Lucy. I did a commission for Lucy at one point too. But
Hell yeah.
I was talking to my grandpa about it. It's like, I'm gonna maybe go to college soon. And this was way back in the day, in good old 2017, maybe, I think. Yeah, well,
Nice.
talking to him about
Pre-pandemic,
art
the
school.
world before.
Yep, exactly. Um, the I was just talking to him about college, and he's like, "Oh, what are you gonna do?" And he's like, "Well, there's some art schools around here." He's like, "No, now, BMO, do you want to be happy?" Like, what do you mean?
There's
He's
some
like,
happy artists out there,
there's
but
no money in being an artist. All artists that make money do it on the side.
I mean, I guess there's so many layers to that. Like, does art only come from struggle? Like, is somebody like just happy making
I
art? Or
fundamentally reject the premise of the starving artist. I think that's just a lazy
I
artist.
I agree. I just know some of my best art, if you'd say, has come out of struggle. I don't know that it can only come out of there, but I don't know. Do you have the same inspiration if everything is just perfect, or I don't know. I'm not sure. By all means, I never had. Hell yes. Everybody do follow BMO. I will definitely be putting that in the link in the description. I did not already because I'm an ass, but it will be there shortly. But yes, follow BMO. He is awesome. Open to commissions, as far as I can tell.
I am definitely
Um,
open for commissions.
But hell
But
yeah.
what was
But
the question that you were going to ask me?
Oh, that is awesome, Corona Kid. I'm glad that you were better and more inspired than me. I don't know what it is. Like, it seems like if I get into a dark place, like I can make like a good song out of it, or so I thought. But I'm not sure. But that is awesome, man. I'm glad that
Hear my
you were
heart
able to
open.
do it out of just messing around. Yeah, what can I say? You know, the best emo comes from a dark place. No, it
True.
wasn't all emo. Okay. That was the band that I accidentally joined. But yeah, sorry. I think let's get back to this one. So I think Dave Smith is going to make an argument along the light bulb one, and fair enough. I think he's going to call her out for the people getting into art.
Why should I bother?
All right,
So I don't
slow
support
down
that.
for a second. Listen, I will tell you this. I have a dream speech. It's fucking motivating me, man, and I want to get it. Now, look, I think this is the worst argument you could be making. I think, like, this is just terrible. Your argument should be something like, the art is better when we make it than AI. It shouldn't be like, but what if all these talentless kids have a dream? And they
No, because you make the point that we're in a merit-based society. So kids should be encouraged to go along those artistic paths.
All right, let me ask you some artistic
To make
questions.
money,
All right,
artistic.
since you're artistic, let me ask you some questions. Can we pull up your flyer here?
Yeah, and I have some other stuff. He can pull up other stuff I've done too.
Okay, so
I got the
in terms
receipts.
of like the artistic choices here. So when Lewis was scalped and then this hat was ironed onto his head,
Yeah.
like,
Skull
what
missing.
did that represent?
Also, I can't believe
I was going for like a True Detectives, like yeah, you see.
You're lying.
So now that she said that, I can see like the attempt at True Detective. Now that she's said it, but I think it's a huge fail, and I don't like it. But I can see how this is an attempt at something like that. That kind of, I don't know what you call it, like avant-garde, but it definitely uses kind of like
It's something.
not necessarily collage, but images over images that are, yeah.
It's definitely
I can
going
see what
for the
she's trying to
collage
do.
look.
It's-
It looks like she literally did
Yeah.
that. She's just cutting up a
No,
bunch
for
of
sure.
images and distorting them and then putting them together. And there is an expertise for that. But I don't like this image personally. Like I think it's kind of ugly.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. And this is just one that she submitted. Like,
Sure,
they are
I'm
putting
sure
it
she
against
has
just
good
one
pieces.
of Lewis's, but I'm sure he didn't use the first one from there. You know, like he kept generating till he found one that he liked. I'm sure, but yeah, let's let them keep going for just a minute.
Let them cook.
That was like the
No,
vibe I
and
was
he
going
did
Here's the
for.
thing.
wanna-
You're
Like,
Like
there we go.
Lewis rolls into your town, he looks badass, like the True
All
Detectives.
Was he like
all
a
your
ghost?
credits.
Was he like Ghost
That's
Dad,
what
and
I
then
was
someone
going
turned
for.
off the lights and he's kind of like coming to life?
Your font editing is
Okay,
great.
that's hilarious.
The background is fucking dope. The graphic of Lewis sucks shit.
And that's fair. I spent about
But
an
I'm saying,
hour on it.
so if you put
That's fair.
So can you see? doing everything there in about an hour. Like if she was to do everything from scratch, like I'd have to think that has to be assets. Like even the way that it's shaded at the front, it looks to me like it's pasted over the image of the ogre. I don't know. Maybe it is just her using a black brush at the bottom. I'm not
It
positive.
probably is assets that are distorted
I-
and then
I
filtered
think it would
over.
have to be for like an hour of time, right? Like there's no way you could get like a, I think she's going to call Lewis as a dynamic illustration, but wouldn't that be what that one is too, with just Lewis pasted over it in a
I don't
slightly
f-
transparent way?
Well, I don't personally think that either of those images are dynamic.
Fair enough.
Like one definitely has a very different art direction that I don't like personally, but it's something. And the other
Yeah.
one doesn't really seem to have much of an direction other than we're gonna take the superhero pose.
I get why you'd feel bad that they're roasting her live. She kind of asked for this, and I think you
She
were not
walked
with us
up
at the
there.
time that she commented on every one of his pictures too. Like, that is disgusting. That makes me sick. You shouldn't be using AI art. So she kind of brought it on herself, and then they asked her if she wanted to. But I hear you. She knows she's going into the lion den, and then yeah, Corona kids, fugly. You're right. Fair enough. I don't.
If there's anything I
necessarily
can say
dig
for
either
it,
of
is
them.
that it does grab the eyes and wrenches
Yeah.
them right out.
I don't know if it does. Like, so if it were like this big, I think it would. But when it's that huge wall of text at the top, and they'll kind of get to that, I don't know that I'd even notice this. I would just scroll right past it. But maybe
Yeah.
that's just me. But looking at Lewis's one on the right, it's not like that makes me want to go see comedy. But since I know Louis J, I'd be like, hell yeah, he's in my town. Let's do this.
I would
But,
look past
I don't think
both
they're
of those
either are great.
because the
I think
text
so
is
too.
terrible.
Agreed. But I think now Dave's going to get into that whole argument.
Okay.
But yeah, let's let them roast a little bit more, and then they'll get into some artistic talk.
But I'd say
I would say
Put
the
the-
font
put-
is horrible.
put the font over the picture of Lewis on the right.
Oh,
Even with
okay.
that monster, with that backdrop, it's about working together, guys.
I don't-
See,
Even then, though,
see. This is
so
exactly
I
the
don't-
thing that I'm talking about with like the input of the client, though. That's important to know. That could fix this problem.
And I don't disagree. I think the font might be better, but even then, like the ransom note font, really, I think it could get lost, and it is kind of distracting. I don't know. I can understand that Big J likes that font. To me, it's also a little distracting, and I cannot see
You
Louis
definitely don't
J's
want to
name in
read
there, so I would
long
need that
words
huge.
for that one.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm just biased against ransom notes. I have a weird history with them.
Against ransom notes.
Sure, collaborate.
I don't get the background. Is he playing in the George Floyd riot in Minneapolis? You know, like what's the burning? What's
The
going on
background?
there? Yeah.
Charlottesville.
Oh,
It's,
got it.
It's Lewis's mostly peaceful comedy tour.
Yeah, I can't believe you found a
Fiery
club
Lewis.
called the
Everything's
Rattlesnake
burning.
Pit.
I'm assuming it's Florida.
There's no Jay. Here's the thing, Jay, and I mean it's fine. Jay's the sweetest guy in the fucking world. He just won't be mean, and that's okay. This, and I mean this, Aaron. If you think that is good, you are fucking retarded,
Okay.
and you need to fucking reevaluate your fucking eyeballs, your brain, your talent, everything in the world.
You're also comparing.
The other
You're also
shit, you
comparing.
did submit other shit that I thought was pretty. The reason I told you
Yeah,
to give it a
I've done
crack.
other shit that's good. I just
She
did that
submitted some
recently.
other. She did that. So she showed me some
What
things
the
she did.
fuck is this?
Now, I will say I hate this.
Okay. I'm gonna be real.
So this is another thing that
looks
she submitted.
lazy. This looks
So
really
she's against
lazy.
templates, and she's going to explain this, but this is essentially just like a Warriors image, and then she tried to get out any sort of Warriors logo on it anywhere and put these two comedians on there. I don't know. I think AI would have made this so much better, in my opinion, but this just looks like bad photoshopping, but maybe that's what they were looking for, poorly
That
photoshopped
there
over the Warriors.
is
I
a
don't know.
niche for poor looking art. So I
Yes.
mean,
So
I'm
Maybe
not
that's what
sure
they're
if I
going
want to
for.
call this art. Honestly, it looks incomplete at least.
Well, I think it's supposed to be a flyer, or like on Facebook or Twitter, where you can just kind of put out like, here you go, I'm here this night. But yeah, I
It
don't
is
know.
giving
It does give
Airbud
Airbud.
feels.
That is such a good call, Lucy. 100%. I do see the Space Jam as well. I think Airbud nailed it just a little bit better, but yeah, it's those vibes for sure. But yeah, she has a few more examples that she sent in, and keep in mind she hates templates.
Oh no!
I hate this a lot.
Oh no!
What's the thing?
Oh no!
Oh,
Is that a padlock?
Oh,
Wait,
no.
so
Mark, I'm so glad we didn't call our podcast that. We were this close.
I did not name the show. I made the
Is that a
flyer.
metal nipple in the word brother? What is that?
It's a microphone.
Yeah, that was shitty. I do
It
admit
is?
that looks like shit. Yeah, I was just trying to cover up all the Warriors shit.
Oh my god.
So she's saying that looks like shit. Why did she send it as like a here's what I don't know. Okay.
I don't get it.
I've got some really bad photoshops. I wouldn't send those ahead to somebody that I'm trying to get to pay me for my work. But I don't know. Sorry,
So
you were
here-
saying you do
actually I disagree with you on this one actually. So okay.
Okay.
So I've had to work with someone recently with this I took issue with this because they wanted me to basically give them a fully rendered piece before paying me. It was basically like it was more of a
I've had
I
that
need to
with
get free
musicians
art
and
from
recording, too.
you. You're the best art that I can get from you to find out if I want to commission you. It was basically like,
Yeah.
here's an audition, bud. And I'm like, that's not
And
how
sadly-
my business works.
Sadly, that's kind of what this is because Lewis didn't
That
say
is,
like I will
yeah.
pay you for this. He said, "Yeah, sure, go ahead and send one my way," and then he didn't pay her, but then used it as the fodder for the show. But he did talk to her and ask her if she wants to talk about it as one of the topics. But
Okay.
keep in mind, he still never paid her for the $40 for the thing. So I don't
Well,
know. I think at least pay her $40 for the ability
think
to
so, yeah.
have this fun podcast about it. But
the submission
Yeah, I
thing,
don't
it all depends on really what you are willing to do. Because in some ways, this is how, like, if you wanted to get into like the animation industry, you have to give examples.
Mhm.
And sometimes that
For
you're
sure.
told, sometimes you're told, okay, you have 3 seconds of animation that you need to make, but this is the subject, go for it. And that is basically your
For sure.
audition for the job. That there is some merit to that. It all depends on what you're willing to put up with.
Yeah, and
So-
I don't think I mentioned it in the arts talk that we had at the beginning, but I did screen printing for like 3 years as well. And
Yeah.
in order to get into that, I had to bring like a portfolio of like what I had printed in the past. And I just had stuff from like, we had I'm trying to remember what they called it, but essentially it was an art lab where we got to mess around and do a little bit of screen printing. So I had a whole bunch of like horrible ones that I'd done from there. So I did still bring that in my portfolio. So I'm mocking this, but it's like, I don't know. I had horrible stuff in my screen printing portfolio that
I
I brought
mean-
in that got me an actual job. Then I had good examples of cool screen printed stuff. But yeah. So I don't know. I mocked her, but I just realized I did the same thing. Like I had a horrible portfolio. Perhaps she's just starting out and maybe I'm just being an
I
asshole.
do think
I
that
don't
this is a bad showing for her expertise, though. If this is what she's doing.
know. For sure.
Even
But she
if you
submitted
don't
a
want to
couple
put,
more. Maybe we're just being
Yeah.
mean on this one. Maybe the rest of them are good. Who knows?
even if you're not putting your
But Aaron,
full effort
I'm just
in,
saying, like,
even if you're not putting your
Yeah.
full effort in, like this does not look like you're putting even half effort in.
For sure. And sorry, I didn't comment on your someone trying to get the free artwork out of you. Everybody tries to do that. That sucks. I also had that with bands who would like record. It's like, well, here, I'll give you like kind of a rough mix, but I'm not going to give you the full mix till you guys like pay me. Like, I don't know. And I couldn't tell you how many people just left with the rough mix and that's it. And it's like, okay, well, fair enough. There's no effects on it. That's just exactly how we recorded it to the board. But yeah, it just sucks. A lot of people do want something for nothing. And AI art might fill that gap. Like instead,
Sure.
you might not get your time wasted by somebody looking for free art from you when they can instead go to this AI program because they know they were never going to pay you in the first place. They were just wasting your time and trying to get free shit.
This
out of
is
you.
why I'm sort of optimistic about the niche being formed of those who they work with their hands, not people that are using generative features like that. And just like there's an niche right now for traditional art, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. Well, let's look at
Do
it
it for
a
the
little bit more for
exposure.
artwork. That's right. You're
I'm not
paid
being
in
a dick here. Like
exposure.
you're a sweetheart. You're great. I'm sure you're talented.
It's kind of being a
inside.
dick here.
Oh.
That
It
looks
is my
like
show.
that looks like the
Come through.
template thing.
Wait, I swear,
I like
I
that
thought we were
one a
looking
little
at an
more.
example of the template. You did this to my Robbie Bernstein.
You templated
I'm
great
gonna
show.
let one
Great
more
show.
play.
What do you
and
have
I'll
against the top of
Yeah.
heads?
He's got a point.
That's your
Yeah.
artistic style is Navajo. You just cut off.
She's telling you.
Oh my
You know, you get to look at them
gosh.
right now. You have to come to the show.
You
if you
gotta-
want
My
their
aim is
brain.
to scalp comics. Apparently, I had no idea.
Okay, so I just wanted to let it get to this one to kind of show. So she hates templates, yet she uses them. Like
She's using
I
them
don't know.
for
It just
sure.
feels. Yeah, even if it's one that she created, like she definitely used it between that Robbie Bernstein one and this Natalie Cuomo one. I don't know. It is the exact same template. Like, I don't know. So her being against Canva just rings as so. I don't know.
He's still
Insincere
ruining.
to
Like,
me.
oh my gosh, just stop
Yeah.
doing the bright colors and the dark text like that, please.
Maybe she's new at this. I don't know how long she's been in this. She hasn't said. So these aren't the greatest examples. I don't know. Maybe that Louis J one is a step up artistically for her, but yeah, it's not my cup of tea. But I just thought it was odd that she would be so against Canva when she's using templates herself, and I think they call her out pretty hardcore for that.
Aaron, I think you're fucking great.
More Canva.
All right, there we go. I mean, I'm just saying, like,
That was all of them?
Aaron, you're
Show the illustrations, because you did an illustration there.
Aaron, you're
Okay.
But isn't the background of hers, aside from Lewis, like posted over, isn't it still an illustration, just blurred?
I'm not too sure.
I don't know.
now.
Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't. Maybe because there's the whole thing of like you can just like do a super Gaussian blur over an image.
Yeah.
And it looks a little painterly that way, a little bit.
Huh.
But I don't know. I don't know. It could be.
Well, I think they're going to get back to it in a second, but she's going to explain that his is a dynamic illustration, so it's different.
Dynamic
You're-
illustration.
Look, she's trying to find specific. This one you're trying to show a chick.
No,
like,
no.
Hold on,
You
hold on. Let me
also-
stop talking. When you're trying to show a picture of a chick that you're fucking, but you keep on going to try to find a hot one because.
No, I stand by everything that you guys showed up there. I stand by everything
I got one. I got one. Give me a second. Hold on. Grab it, the big boy. Come grab a seat at the big boy chair.
All right. I want to
Okay.
be helpful here. But
So she actually gets a seat at the table to get the rest of the roasting. Mark had to take off. I kind of got rid of that part, but yeah, now she's actually at the table. You can see her for full, and she gets to be, a full part of this group.
we
and
didn't even
still
really
gets
capture the problem with the flyer because we just kind of focused in on the bottom half of it and then analyzed that. Now, obviously, the main problem is that Lewis isn't completely in it. But the way the dates are all
didn't
at the
have any
top
questions
half,
either.
and then there's just kind of a graphic at the bottom half, just doesn't work
None of it
at
makes
all.
sense.
So yeah, I wasn't sure if I was making a
My
flyer.
name being really small, mediocre,
I
which
was-
doesn't mean anything to anybody being really
Thank you,
big,
sir.
Yes.
doesn't make
Look,
any sense.
Obviously,
I wasn't
Lewis's
sure
name
if
has
I
to
was
be big.
making something for an entire tour just for a single thing, if each one was going to be individually what. I didn't have any
Show,
direction
but
at all.
I know.
So
but
I
show,
ran with no
I
direction,
understand
and
that,
that's
but
fair.
zoom out so we can see the whole
Yeah, I see
flyer.
what you're saying.
Listen, right away, the fact that all I can see looking at it is meaty ogre tour, and I can barely
Yep.
make out Louis J. Gomez, is already a huge problem.
Now here's
That's like
Completely true.
Yeah, and again, so awesome. Welcome to the stream, Calvin. That's awesome. Thank you. I'm sorry about the tingles. But yeah, it's
He's somewhat of an artist himself.
it's true. But it is kind of interesting. I think the thing that I would want known the most, if I was to actually, have people see this, probably would be my name. That is kind of
Yep.
weird that she didn't think of that. She is explaining why she thought of that in a second, so I don't want to take away from it. But I mean, if you look at Lewis's, well, it's hard to actually read it again because of the color choice and just the font as well. Like having that, two outlines, it is not easily legible. But at least his name is the biggest part, and that's kind of the thing. That's the attraction. If you just hear mediocre tour, are you going to know what the hell it is? Like, I don't know. Even with bands, like when they have their tours, like, yeah, the tour name may be cool, but you got to know who the band is going to be. The same thing with the comic. I thought that would have been rule one. I thought the artist would have known, but yes, I'll let them roast a little bit further. And I think she acknowledges why. And fair enough. I can follow her down that thought process. I just kind of disagree.
That
with
should never be the
I
case
just
for
want to
us.
ask,
I
I want to
would
ask
say
her a
is-
question. Aaron, answer.
Red on black sucks.
You legitimately think that. Hold on, let me say this one. You legitimately think that looks better than that. I'm not even saying that looks great. I'm saying you think that looks better than that. You really mean that.
yours is a dynamic illustration. If a real person made it, absolutely, it is more dynamic. Yes.
I'm just saying if you're
That doesn't answer his
I don't know. So
question.
she seems she seems to be adding that caveat if a regular person made it. So I don't know. I know that's not your argument, but it seems to be the argument that there is this like ineffable quality that somehow is like put into the art just by
Yeah.
the fact that human hands made it. I don't know. Do you agree with that? Is that a valid argument, or
it's a harder version, it's like a more hardcore version of what I was saying about, like, I personally value the artisan cabinet maker that makes the cabinet over
for sure,
IKEA or Walmart. But she's digging her
for
head in
sure?
the sand right there saying this is the most important thing. I don't think that's the
Yeah,
most important part of my argument. I think the commissioning is, like, the big part for me. Like,
fair
knowing
enough.
that there's
That
a
sounds
distinction.
completely reasonable. Yeah, and that's why I was trying to say, like, I think she gets similar to your argument, but obviously does not do it well. Um, but yeah, I think there's just oh, that is an interesting point. I
Investiture.
don't know if there's many brander stands out there, but investiture is kind of their magic system, so it's you can kind of put magic into certain things.
You get the
That is
magically
kind of
bits
interesting.
inside you. That's
Yeah,
investiture.
and I think there is, like, more value in it for sure, like, when I see that there is skill versus kind of, just an AI generated image, but I don't know, for something like this, I gotta be honest, I would take the one on the left. I wouldn't
I
exactly
would
be happy
also
with it,
take the
but,
one on the left over the one on the right because simply the design choices on the one on the right don't grab my
yeah.
eyes. At least the fire behind the character in the other one grabs me. And
Mhm.
just it makes me want to look at it. The other one, again, black on red, don't do that. But, like, that's just all
Yeah.
basic design stuff. If you watch YouTube videos on how to do color theory, these are the ones that are, like, they're the most popular that you don't mix some certain things. You just it would take one color fit theory video, and then you would know not to mix certain colors. It all base
I
I'm
completely
just
agree with
not
you.
thinking that the artist is that skilled or was trying to make it on really short time.
I agree, and I think she says that she spent about an hour on it. So I don't know, like, it just seems, hard to make that all from scratch in an hour, but maybe I'm wrong. And then, Usagi was saying intent energy, that's a much better way of explaining it than I did, and also mentions the dust from Golden Compass, which would be, like, very similar to the same thing. Okay, and then Calvin is saying, "I think AI has lots,
Hey, Calvin.
has lost some of its charm. Midjourney has a really unique style, but it seems to pump out more generic blah the more it is trained or it's trained." Um, Fair enough. I can definitely understand that opinion. I haven't dealt with Midjourney nearly as much. I've liked
That's the
some of
one
the
I'd
really
mess
cool
with.
stuff. It seems to be like a lot of fractals that I notice in those, which is kind of cool. But I don't know. I've done OpenAI a lot more than Midjourney, which uses different. I think Midjourney is the diffusion model, and I think OpenAI is kind of more the noise model. They're both interesting. I haven't messed around with Midjourney as much as I'd like to. I just kind of scratched the surface in that one. But yeah, they each kind of have their own thing. I really like OpenAI because it kind of trains it to you and what you're looking for a little bit more than Midjourney, from what I understand. But again, I don't have as much practice with that one. But
Hmm.
fair enough. I can get that. There is definitely an aesthetic that comes to AI art. Like you can kind of tell. It's especially
Yeah,
with kind of the yeah, like kind of the what would you call that? It's not necessarily uncanny valley, but it's near that.
generic.
It doesn't look fair enough, generic, but at the same time, like, wrong. I don't know what you'd call that, but, hell yeah. But yeah, there's some really awesome stuff out there. Like Lucy's saying that she saw that video AI on Twitter yesterday, and it was amazing, which,
I
it really
instantly knew it
is.
was
Like
AI though. That's the or there was
yeah,
something weird going on, but it's
there's one of
pretty
them that
awesome,
fooled me.
honestly.
I think it was like a Japanese yogurt or Japanese drink commercial, but that one fooled me until like 5 seconds in, and it's like, "Holy shit, this is" and it's only getting better. I think that was like 2 months ago. I can just imagine what they're working on now. Yeah, I don't see putting the genie back into the bottle, but I could be wrong. But, yeah, I think, she's gonna explain why she, didn't do the, name a little bit bigger.
Seeing a
right
flyer
here.
and you want to go to a show, if I
Real
see
quick.
that, hold on. If I see that, I go, hey, that guy might be a pro. If I see that, I'm like, this is a retarded person that I'm going to see.
So two things.
I'm going to go see a
For the
fucking-
point that you made, it's going to be posted on Lewis's social media. So the reason I put the dates is because I figured what people want to know is where and what cities he's in. So that's why I featured that more than his name,
Yeah,
and why
but-
I featured the name of the tour more than the name
so
of the
that, let me just say, this is
But
why.
no-
So he's going to explain it here. I feel kind of bad, like cutting on his point, but like I guess I understand where she's coming from. It's on his page or whatever, so people would know that. I don't know if anybody like quote tweets it or retweets it. You know, it would be great if it did actually have his name on it, so they didn't have to like look up to the previous like who is this. I can understand her thought process. I think Dave's going to explain why that's not necessarily the correct one to have. I would have assumed that she would have done that as an artist, but fair enough. I can understand.
This is why you're wrong. Hold on.
You're right.
Hold on.
It's a
Hold on.
flat
Hold
right. I'm
on.
agreeing.
Shush.
I'm agreeing.
That makes no sense.
That's why we
at
never
all.
have women on the show.
Right, but you just,
I don't know. Louis K is
Hold on.
funnier than you.
well, okay. First off, that's a dude, and second of all, no, listen. But I'm sorry. I'm saying this trying to be helpful. That point makes no sense.
Okay.
It doesn't matter if I'm posting it on my social media. I'm looking out for people to see it.
Okay.
Whoever reshares it, shares it, it goes out there. You want people to see it. The first thing, here's why this is a better post. And I think you can make a better poster than this one, right? But here's why this is a better flyer. Because right away I see Louis J. Gomez.
Nipples.
I see Tour 2024. I'm
Forearm spice.
I have half a
Nipples.
boner. Because what's going on in the back. And then I can clearly tell these are dates. This one I look at it.
There's a call
the
to
way-
action, there's a
The way
website.
I read this,
Deviated
right?
septum.
The first thing I see going from top to bottom, as people tend to read when they read things,
Yeah.
is like what
Yeah.
a million things. Barely catch Louis J. Gomez. Then I see
Liked by
mediocre
Laura
tour.
Schumacher.
I see this weird meaty ogre tour. I don't
Yeah,
get
I
what
don't
that
know if you're
means.
trying to channel Mulholland Drive or something. It's very noir. Lewis, you're better at this than she is. I'm shocked.
I'm
I
just
think
saying-
you're better at this in stand-up.
Honestly, I should just go into graphic.
Oof.
And that sucks. Like I
Oof.
definitely made those same type of issues. Like again, I made like a whole bunch of flyers for like shows. I definitely put the non-important stuff up top. Didn't like know the rules that is supposed to go on with any of this. I've made all of these mistakes, but you'd hope that somebody who is wanting to be paid for this would kind of keep those in mind. Regardless of whose page this is on, the name should be big, like somewhere in there. Like you don't want the tour name like way bigger than the actual name. Like as Lucy says, you gotta highlight the headliner. Like come on. But fair enough. I'm sure I've done that too. I know I've done things where the band names were very hidden in there, and it's like, okay, nobody's gonna see this and be like, hey, you guys are playing a show. I've made horrible flyers before. So yeah, I guess I'll let her keep going, but obviously, it's an easy mistake to make. I would just hope that she kind of gets this when they're trying to tell her in this horrible roasty way. Well, hilarious.
I hope she doesn't
maybe I'm a
quit
glutton for
completely after this roast of a lifetime.
She doesn't. She holds her own, and she keeps roasting them back. I don't have every one of her comebacks, but she's from the audience, then heckling them the rest of the show. She's definitely, she's ballsier than I am for sure.
That's like, nah, never mind.
No.
Let's go. Louis, you found your calling, dude. Can we get back to what really matters here?
Again, I knew walking into this that y'all were going to say that you didn't like this, and I said if I could make my point about the point that I was making was about AI art, that I would listen to this, and it's fair. If people don't like what I make, that's fair. And the points that you're making, I'm hearing. Right on.
We just wanted to be heard
No, I don't. Here's the thing.
and be seen.
No, Aaron, fight more. It's funnier that way.
We just did AI
Really? You
comedy
think that's
specials.
funnier?
Listen, we just
Okay,
listened
see,
to
that
AI
made
comedy
sense.
specials last week, and they weren't
Yeah, I watched
quite
that.
as good as us. But also,
don't know,
as
they're
I
pretty
as I
great.
listened to it, I was like, they're nipping at us.
They're
I'll tell you that
pretty
much. Like, we got to make our money right now because AI.
You get that at all? You get that feeling that AI is nipping at your heels? It's not quite as good as you, but I don't know. Is there any fear that AI could be?
For me personally, no, I don't have any fear because AI can't make art as shitty as mine, honestly. But that's I'm not worried about myself.
Fair enough. It
But
takes
for
real
other people that
creativity
are
to come
much
up
more
with.
well known, exactly, and I barely have any creativity as is. I gotta make it work. But jokes aside, her response kind of felt like I make the claim, I stake the claim, I yell about the claim, and then I say I don't care afterwards.
Yeah,
It's like
fair enough. It again would be tough. Like you're on a fairly popular podcast, so she's a comedian as well. So this is kind of her side gig as a art. whatever you want to call it, graphic designer. But still,
Yeah, if it were her
you know,
day
she's
job,
holding
it
her
would
own
be
pretty well.
probably higher quality, honestly.
I think so. She would probably, you know, have more time, more assets to put into it for sure. But sorry, Calvin brought up that whoops, I grabbed the wrong one. There we go. So when they were up there, her Aaron's was on the right and Louis J's was on the left. So he was saying that the right is definitely more attention grabbing. Fair enough. I don't think that one makes me think comedy show. Although the one on the left doesn't make me think comedy show either.
It is attention grabbing.
Aesthetically, I like Lewis's
reasons
better
because it's ugly.
Yeah. And then
Hey, Multi.
and I grabbed the wrong one. Hey, Multi, how's it going, sir? Welcome. And then Usagi was saying AI art is better than me, even at drawing hands. Oh, that's sad. I'm sure you at least have the correct number of digits, or at least know how many should be there. AI doesn't.
Usagi, you know, if you want art lessons,
you're still bad.
If you want art lessons, they're happening in that darn kitty's Discord server that she has a link to on her channel.
Wonder if there's a market for AI boyfriends. Who should I train the model of? Who are you looking for as a boyfriend, Calvin? I think you could find whoever you want to model. But yeah, hey, Multi. And yeah, I agree. When it comes to artistic preference and subjectivity, yeah, for sure. Oh no. Apparently, Calvin switched, so I think he liked Lewis's, but then whatever. We'll get back to it in a second. I think you can have a preference for either. You know, everything is obviously subjective. I just don't know if either would make me think like, yay, comedy. I think they could be more effective, but I've definitely had uglier flyers than both for my bands. So I don't know. I don't really have room to talk.
There's a reason I'm on the road every week.
Yeah, like
I feel that
gotta,
shit.
Yeah, you got to make it because once they're better than us, I can't argue. You're supposed to just pay me money because we're real. If AI was better than us, you'd have to go. All right,
Aaron, you're very sweet. And honestly, if you guys do like Aaron's art, please book her to fucking do some art.
I'm just trying to pay my rent and not get evicted and die. That's all, you know.
But I will tell you right now, I will do art
It's
for
a
20.
merit-based society. If my art's not good and I don't make money on it, then your point is
Do you
proven.
die upon eviction?
Yes. For me, yes.
What's outside that door?
For me, yes. There's
No,
nowhere
the
for me.
landlord's going to see your art and murder her.
She goes,
You
I
get
rent
paid
a
for
one
this, I'm
bedroom
raising your
apartment
rent.
surrounded by.
Yeah, I mean, like, I completely get it. You know, I would also like to make money off of my art. So far, I'm not making a living off of it. It is, you know, a side project. But yeah, I completely do get her wants. You know, I would also like to not be evicted. I'm sure you don't want to be evicted.
Nope.
I don't
would
know that
prefer
AI
not
is
to.
necessarily going to take everyone away from that. It might make the people who actually are commissioning works like a lot more skilled in what they actually want, and then it might weed out some of that free art clientele. So I'm hoping that's the case, and it doesn't actually
I
take
think
paying members
you
away.
may be onto
But
something
maybe,
there.
maybe Lewis would have been forced to pay for that other one before, but now he has options. I'm not sure. I don't know. It's kind of interesting, but I'm not sure. He doesn't specifically say whether or not he would have paid for it before he had access to AI art.
I don't.
Either way, he
think
seems to
that
be
he
profiting
would have
off of
paid
her art.
for it,
So he
honestly.
should have paid her the
I don't
40 bucks.
know.
By a moat with alligators.
agree.
Your signature on the check is tiny, but the memo is huge.
Oh no. Sorry, did the audio fail for everybody, or is that just my earphone?
Well,
fair
I
enough.
could hear it.
Okay, now it's back. Okay, now it's back. Sorry, it was my earphone.
Aaron,
Okay, let me hit play again.
You don't start having. All right, thank God, Aaron, everyone, Aaron, everyone. I love you, Aaron. You're very sweet. She said she appreciates the point that we're at a point where we need her for content.
Yeah, I mean, she makes a solid point.
So she does keep roasting him from the end. I did cut out a few of them. Lewis is also extremely mean to her. So yeah, my bad. I did cut both of those out, but she does give as well as she got. Unfortunately, I did not edit this to make it seem as though. But
Well, she
yeah,
got come up.
she was still pretty awesome.
honestly,
She's tougher
because
than
she
me.
was already fighting him online.
She did. She came in swinging when he chose AI over her. But yes,
point, all
they're not
bets are
quite
off.
done yet, though.
She was
let's
great.
let them
It's
just
funny
finish
people
this
are
part
angry
up.
about it, though. Again, like you said, it's not like
Look, man, you can't. By the way, there's a contradiction between the whole you shouldn't replace any real artists and it's a merit-based thing. It's like that's the point. As an artist, your job is to always be better than the computers. And if you're not, then you got to like I was saying. Well,
somebody said that,
if AI comes out and can be better than any of us, then that's the point where we don't deserve any of this shit anymore.
I completely agree.
Or you got to fucking get better.
So somebody
Get better
said
than
that.
them.
One of the comments was they were like, "Well, how about we just listen to AI do a podcast instead?" I was like, "Go do it. If it's better than us, then I guess you don't fucking need us anymore."
Look, if you really believe that, if you think that even if AI is better, we should still get the gig, then you should go start yelling at like a fucking truck and being like, "A horse and buggy's job got taken away by you, Mr. Truck."
But people ride a horse and buggy for like the novelty of it.
And that's what we'll be.
That's what we'll be.
We'll be sad horses by Central Park.
You'll be doing your podcast on East 59.
Yeah, Aaron,
Caricatures
that's
in
what
the
you are.
park.
You're a horse, Aaron. You're a fucking horse in the park that maybe we'll fucking hop on Valentine's Day for a gag.
That's great. I just like we're all lined up on 59th Street, just looking sad. I think I'm gonna ride the Chappelle for a little bit. Look at this, just for old time's sakes. Let's see what he has to
It's a
say.
carousel, but it's just all of us doing our podcast.
I don't know. That is an interesting notion. What do you kind of think on the idea of if you're not better than the computer, why should
that is a
somebody
great
pay you?
motivator, but a lot of people also will completely give up at that point because like I can't be better. Well, no, that's the point. So the novelty, I think that's real. I think that definitely when it comes to the point where the playing field is completely leveled, the niche of people specifically wanting stuff made not by AI will mean that people will pay top dollar for it. People are still going to value that.
I hope so. Like
I don't think that's going to go away.
I don't know. Even then, though, like there's so many different versions for lost art or different applications for lost art that I think true artists in their craft would, again, like we've talked about so many examples like IKEA versus like some actual like handcrafted furniture. Fair enough. I don't know. I think there's still going to be that use for that amazing actual like woodworking that is quality as opposed to this cheap knockoff generic stuff. But
Exactly.
I don't know. If you're in your first apartment, do you need that amazing, like, do you have to save up for months and live like with milk crates essentially? Or could you get like the in-between furniture, like drawers that kind of suck, but hey, they hold stuff? I don't know. That's where I kind of view AI art. And again, I've used this analogy.
There's merit
probably
to
into the
both of
ground,
these
but-
things. That's like I can't make a choice between the two. I think both are necessary. Dude, I grew up really poor. There's like if we could not go to Walmart or like the 99-cent store, like the dollar store and all that to get stuff, we wouldn't have anything. Like there's merit to all of these cheap things existing. It's just if you want it done better, okay, go get it done that way. When the playing field gets completely leveled, that's gonna change. And I know I feel a little weird about it, but I'm optimistic about it. Like it's not going to replace artists. That I think that's a really dumb notion.
So you're not going to
Dry
be switching
poop
to BMO do AI art?
No, I'm
Okay.
good. I probably will
Okay.
never publicly post AI art unless I'm in like the Discord or something.
Do you agree with Usagi? The AI art is the lowest rung of the quality ladder.
There is low quality
it's
AI
above
art,
stick
and then there's
figures, but-
quality AI art. It's not
Fair
black
enough.
and white.
I do think there's a distinction.
There
for sure.
is
I think I'd
AI
agree with
art
that.
that people will put a lot of work into, and it will look utterly fantastic. It will. It's just like without a doubt.
I think that's a good way of putting it, Calvin. Traditional forms of craftsmanship should remain just profitable to reliable fallbacks in case of disaster. That might be good. I just don't know if, do we subsidize certain industries so they're not lost, like candle making, or light bulbs, or even horse and buggy stuff, or
Is survival
do they just have to
training
be like
useful?
amazing at it?
Because
It
it's
is
like
for sure. And
that should. Yeah, I think that there's
sure.
definitely like it should stay around, and this is where I like the whole idea of like conservatives holding on to traditions that have been going on in their
What up,
families
LG?
for hundreds and hundreds of years. Like yeah, this is a skill that should be taught. That should be like, even though you can have a program make it, I still think you definitely should try to make it yourself. Give it a try.
Fair enough.
Especially like this is why
Yeah.
AI art motivates me to make more. Because it's like, oh, that gives me an interesting idea. I like how it did those colors. Because sometimes it is of quality.
Well, speaking of AI artists, like someone who way surpasses anything that I could ever do is this LG man. LG is the
Mhm.
man, and he has made so many amazing and just gorgeous works of art. He is using it on a completely different level than I am, and he uses it as an amazing tool to enhance like existing photos. He showed me like the ways that he's going into ControlNet and like changing everything. He is levels beyond what I'm at. I'm just kind of scratching the surface of a lot of that stuff, but yeah, man, this dude is an artist with this tool. He puts all of my AI art to shame. Hell yeah.
Okay.
Um,
I've never
I
seen your
think we're
stuff, Lawrence, but I'll have to take a look. Yeah,
Ooh,
let me take a look at that.
do check out. He just posted his X in there, and he is awesome at
Hey,
a lot of
yo,
those.
Chun-Li.
Yes, he's got a bunch of awesome stuff in there. If I'm right about AI, it uses things that already exist, so it doesn't create from zero something new. It mixes stuff to create new things. Therefore, I don't think true artists will be replaced. You're not necessarily wrong. Depending on the way, like either it uses noise or stable diffusion. Well, there's a few different methods as well, but they're not necessarily like literally like photocopying every image and then like using amalgams or pieces of them. The noise one, it just kind of understands like what is going on in that image. It's only looking at the noise, and then it looks as many images
Mhm.
that also are like that, categorizes them, and then tries to reproduce a new one using that noise. The stable diffusion does kind of the same thing, but again, it's not just like creating cats that are made of different cats that it has. It actually tries to create a new one using its stable diffusion. Um, a lot of it has been, compared to like the way that people learn, like I don't know. It does seem definitely different, and each one is a little bit different. But
Yep.
yeah, it's just you're
So,
right. It's not creating
mm,
something necessarily out of nothing, but are we? Like, I mean, I guess you could try and create something that you've never seen that nobody's ever seen. But even us, we're inspired by a bunch of different things.
of
Um,
course.
I don't know. I kind of get the idea that you're saying, but like, is anything truly created from zero unless you're creating it from the first time?
Oh,
I
there's
don't know.
nothing new under the sun.
Yeah,
That's
LG points out like there's way more educational videos that go way deeper. Um, oh shit, I thought Stable Diffusion wasn't the noise model. I thought OpenAI was more of a noise. I know they're different, but yeah, I'll have to go look at the videos because I thought the difference
so
was the noise. So
actually,
thanks for the correction, LG.
so on that, the post that you linked, Lawrence, I do like this. I like I can see the amount of work that you put into trying to keep some consistency between the characters. It's obviously not 100% there, but I do like what's here. I like looking at it, of course. I would feel so much more amazed by this though if you made that like pen and
Is it
paper.
just that ineffable thing that like if he had created this with different layers in Photoshop, somehow that gives it more value? I
For
don't
me
know. Is there
personally, I think
something affable?
so.
Hmm.
For me personally, I think that I do find the like, oh man, this looks great. And he made that by hand. Like that is like it adds to it for me.
I don't disagree, but it's like if you tell me like, "Hey, I moved this pallet of X by hand," it's like I'm gonna be more impressed than if you used a forklift, but that
I
pallet was still
understand, yeah.
moved. Like this image is gorgeous. I really like it. I understand the proportions are not anatomically correct, but dude, it's beautiful to me. All of them are in their own ways. I don't know.
You really
I
like
just
that
think
Cammy,
LG
don't you?
is an artist, man.
I
I'm a
can
fan of
see a
Cammy.
lot of
I always
work
have
done.
been. Yeah.
Yeah, you
And
want that
man,
spiral arrow?
LG is an artist, and when you see how long it takes him to do these and, like, how much he's going into ControlNet and changing it and using, like, negative prompts and stuff,
Sure.
I'm just scratching the surface on that. But I don't know, it seems like it's a tool. It may be a shortcut, but I would say, every tool we have is kind of a shortcut. But I don't know. I guess we're kind of going in circles on that. I think we've kind of gone over that before. So let's just finish out this part, and then Lewis does mention something else.
This is like the Aaron debate. Everyone's a little right. Should your name be bigger? Sure. Was her font sick? Yeah.
I just don't like that Aaron
It's
left being
arguable.
pissed off.
Okay. So they did go back and forth a lot more. Check out that episode. I think it's like 3 weeks ago now. It was awesome. But Lewis was recently on Shane and Matt's secret podcast. It is pretty awesome, but they asked Lewis again about his genius moves, and he brings up his AI art. So yeah, let's let him just talk about it a little bit more.
All right.
What are you up to now? What are you working on that's genius?
I started making my own AI art posters for my tours.
Oh, I saw that.
Dude, I fired shitty artists. I'm no longer paying $30 a poster to shitty artists.
You just type in
$90 for the year for AI.
So I don't know. So Aaron was saying that she put at least an hour's worth of work in there, and he's saying that he was paying $30 per poster. You were saying when I quoted out like $30, that seemed low. How much would you want for like a poster like that, like a one-off gig? That
for a poster,
I mean,
that's going to sell tickets and everything.
Yeah, it's a comedy show, so they might not be. They might not be
he's
guaranteed.
not an
Like it
unknown,
really kind of
though.
depends on their deal. No. Louis J. He's definitely a headliner now.
Yeah,
He is
he's not an
the Puerto
unknown,
Rican
so I would
rattlesnake,
want
not
$50
just a.
probably. $50
Fair
for
enough.
the
That doesn't seem that
design.
far off.
Use it as much as you want, because you're just buying a piece. If you wanted multiple for multiple locations, I would probably like do a large lump sum of this is what it would cost you. This is how much I'm discounting per. Like, let's say you wanted me to make 100 different locations. Yeah, you're going to be paying probably $300 for that, and that's probably going to be discounting it quite a bit on what it would be just $50 per. But it all depends. That's where the negotiation goes on with the client. I mean, I've
For sure,
personally
and that's why I was trying to say the
paid over
lowball estimate that I've
$120
seen
for
for
commissions before and stuff like that. Like,
for sure,
it all
and that
depends.
seems reasonable. Like depending on what they want. I just know that I've seen like the lowball offers of like basically $30 for like full rights on Fiverr, and it's like I don't know. I think it's going to be a really
That's the
shitty
way to do it,
thumbnail,
I
but-
guess. It all depends on what you and the artist
Yeah.
want to do.
Well, I know when I was first starting out, it's like, okay, yeah, I'm not a great artist. It's been like a decade since I've used Photoshop. Like, well, it hadn't been that long, but it feels like it. So it's like, I don't know. Maybe I could pay somebody to make it. So I was looking. So granted, this was like a year ago, but the cheapest I could find it for is like $30. And that appears to be about what Louis J would want to pay for, a one-off poster. So it seems like, he wouldn't be the type of client that you're interested in anyway. Like he'd be lowballing you for,
specifically
art,
for
'cause-
like, let's say what Aaron did, and like
Mm-hmm.
they didn't just seemingly discuss pricing anyway. It was like an audition, like I said. But it's like,
essentially, and then he
if
got to use
this
the
guy
rights,
came
so
to
that kinda
me.
sucks.
If this guy came to
Mm-hmm.
me and said, "Hey, I want to work with you. What's your rates?" I'm gonna ask him some details about like, "Hey, what is it? Okay, it's a comedy show. I'm doing a bunch of locations. Okay, do you want it for each location? Do you want one? Do you want 3 different posters?" These would be the things as like I would ask to try and get as much details out of him as possible before we going through with it. And
For
then
sure.
I probably would be like, okay, about $50. If this is commercial, I might even charge higher. It all depends. At this point, I would be trying to get a set price. And of course, I want to
sure.
make
And
more
then
money.
would you also
That's just
do-
where the negotiation starts.
Would you also do like a term with him? Like, you can use this for this long, or would you have like infinite rights to kind of like
infinite
resize
rights.
possibly?
There's no reason for me to hold
Okay.
on to like I need royalties.
Fair enough.
No.
You see, that
Maybe if
makes
it were
sense.
like a
Like, I
super
don't
big,
think
like
with the
if I were
Fiverr stuff
making
you get
something for a
that.
huge company, that's a different story.
Hmm.
It's like if Starbucks wanted me
Well,
to
fair
make a
enough.
design for them, yeah, I want to retain rights to that thing so that I can continue to make passive income on such a thing.
And I don't necessarily disagree with LG that AI is going to get rid of shitty artists and the ones with bad business practice. I think it'll also get rid of shitty clients. The ones that want to lowball the actual artists, that want to try and get the art for free, as we were kind of talking about earlier. I hope it, makes a market for the shitty artists and shitty clients. I hope they can kind of go to it. And, it's a place for cheap, if not free AI art. Hell yeah. And then, as Calvin points out, why should I hire American? Why not Brazilian who lives off $30 a week? I give this dude a $5 tip and I look like Musk.
At that
Fair
point,
enough.
why wouldn't you just
you're free to
generate
do
something with
that.
AI?
Yeah.
Well, you're trying to get it done cheaper
enough.
rather
And
than
you might be able to do
quality-wise, because this is not necessarily talking about money. This is talking about quality. When the playing field is completely evened out, man, I might have different things to say. But right now, it's not necessarily AI art is not beating out other artists. Not necessarily.
Fair enough. Well, I think Lewis is just going to talk about one other thing, and then, we'll get into what he's saying.
Pretty easy. I have no problem with it.
Well,
you have a problem with people using AI?
No, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
About for what?
For anything.
Yeah, I don't really care.
No, the artwork looks kind of whacked out. What's yours look like? Is it better?
It's still kind of whacked out, but I kind of like it.
Does it matter?
It's AI.
I don't think it matters at all.
You could draw a fucking stick figure with a
you
microphone.
can literally take a picture, put the date on the bottom of it, and that's that. A lot of them are ironically bad, where it's bad Photoshops. That's what people do anyway.
Was that what the Depraved was? The devil one?
That was AI. Yeah,
that was sick.
That was AI art.
That was AI art.
dude.
But no, it wasn't. I didn't just say, "Hey, give me a Depraved poster."
Yeah.
I fucking said I want a devil performing for Demons in Hell comedy. Right? I wrote that was my prompt.
Yeah, this is what I was saying. Give the client what he asks for.
And that's the thing, he's kind of learned more what he's actually looking for. So,
And
even the
this
way that he
looks
describes
great.
this versus what he was describing for the Mediocre tour, he's able to kind of figure out the prompt more exactly what he's looking for. And then this font looks a lot more legible, and the color, whatever you want to call that, the color actually works. It doesn't take away from the font. You can still read Tony Hinchcliffe, even though some of it's in that yellow.
I would do black.
There's things you can do to make it a little bit more legible. Exactly. But this is way more legible than his previous
This
one.
looks fine. Even if the lighting's not consistent, I'm sure if I poked around, there's some warped looking hands I can see. But that's not what's pulling it.
There is
It's
two
actually the
thumbs on that
face,
devil hand.
and it's legible.
The same thing that Usagi saying. You can read it. So that's what I'm saying. This seems like an improvement, and maybe it's because he's using a different font and everything, but I don't know. He seems to be improving his skill, and I'm thinking the way that he was able to get this, he has now improved his skill on how to commission. If he was to actually get that artist to do a thumb or a poster for him, I think he'd be able to explain it a lot better than he previously was. But I don't know. I kind of dig this for AI art. It totally works for a one-off for me. I think that would totally be acceptable. I dig it.
Yeah, it's fine.
That I don't like that one. I said regenerate 3 times. Then I like the one they came up with.
It took 3 attempts.
Then I put it into another poster making program to where I could add all of the names and the fucking.
Then you took it from there.
Then
I love satanic comedies. That's what I want to see. I want to see the fucking devil doing stand up.
For sure.
The devil talking about relationships.
There's not.
All right. So I
But
did
what
want
is
to end
that?
it with so this is from Luis J. Gomez's Twitter, and it does say, "This is awesome. AI is defeated." So I did want to end it with kind of where this saga of AI art with Lewis ends. So a fan went ahead and made this, and this would be so hard, if not impossible, to do with AI art. There's so many Easter eggs in there. You'd have to be a fan of Legion of Skanks to get all of them, but that looks so much more like Lewis. He's got his kid, baby James, on his back. There's so many Legion of Skanks logos. There's just so many little Easter eggs in this. It's beyond perfect. And that's what Lewis is saying. AI is defeated. This is a better version. I'm sure he would love this more from the Mediocre tour than his versions, but I have no idea how long it would take an artist to do this. For me, it would probably take a full day. And I would really have to. I'm not sure that it would be even to this quality at that point, but it just doesn't seem like it would be affordable. If he wants this for $30, that's for him. I would probably do it because it's Louis J. But as a business model, I'd be killing myself for $30. I don't know, but I wanted to put a little cap on this video of he does enjoy actual art more. I think he would be the first to say, like, yes, the qualities in this he couldn't reproduce himself with AI art. So, yeah, I just
That's what it seemed like
you
the
know,
conversation ended at anyway for them, where it's like
Yeah.
that this person is just a shitty artist. It's not that I hate art.
Yeah, and that's pretty much where I would end it as well. And I don't disagree. It does seem like there's so much more quality that you could actually have with traditional art, manual art. The fact that you could actually go in and like manually manipulate. There was another thing that they talked about. They wanted to see somebody make an AI image of Lewis with like the so they have a symbol skank hands. It's pretty awesome, but like the Terminator 2 Lewis going into the molten metal at the end. That would be awesome. It would be super hard to do that with AI art. Like you would possibly use the original one as a reference, and then I still think it would take like a lot of photoshopping, or at least a lot of work with control
I
net
may
to
be
get anything
wrong.
close to that.
I may be
Sorry, go right
wrong,
ahead.
but it like just correct me if I'm wrong. But it seems like just like AI art generators in general just can't grasp context.
It's yeah. So it's weird, like because it uses that whole noise thing, like it doesn't 100% know what any object is. It's just taking a bunch of again, I wish I had the correct terms for it. I probably should have watched one of those explainer videos right before this. But like if you're doing a cat, it won't always appear as a cat. Like it doesn't know every bit of anatomical correctness. Same thing with like hands or specific hand signals. Like it's going to
Calvin
be really
Patrick said
hard for it
something
to duplicate
interesting.
that. Speaking of explaining, sorry, I'm assuming this one. Speaking of
Yeah.
explaining, what do you think if somebody asked you to draw winged antlers?
Well, a few things came to
Fair
my
enough.
mind. Like the first
Yeah.
thing that came to mind was like antlers literally with wings on them. And then it turned into, but what if the antlers were wings themselves?
Were the wings? Yeah, that's kind of where my mind went to it too. And I think the images that you get from AI art would be completely different than we'd think of. To get the best thing, like whatever you're thinking, Kelvin, you'd probably have to go into Control Nut and you'd have to do kind of an image of that. Otherwise, it's just going to do random shit. I have definitely tried to do kind of specific things like that. It's not as good at figuring it out. Like specifically, like doing crowds, it had like a tough time with. I can't think that it would do something as specific as antlers with wings. But you could probably make a reference one like with some quick photoshopping and then get a much better version of it. It really depends what way you want to go with it. Also, you could actually just like draw it out and then it could mimic it in a much better fashion, fill it in.
Yep.
It really depends what version, how you're going to generate that AI art. But I think, the problem is actually like coming up with what you want and then how you want it executed. It's going to be tough, but I think AI is a tool that can get us towards, I think it's definitely helped me get the images that I see in my head out onto some sort of medium
You're
that
allowed
people
to
can look
express
and
your
experience.
creativity without the skill. Why wouldn't you do it?
But I could definitely be wrong on it. Well, is there anything that you feel like you haven't said that you'd like to say on the subject of AI art, sir?
Um, I'm still like, even though I'm willing to like, I'm totally cool. It seems like we've found a lot to like that we agree on here, and
Yeah, for sure.
generally, this is how the conversations go. I feel like a lot of people don't they use way too much emotion in this argument,
Well,
especially
definitely.
on like
They're
the
taking our
side of the
jobs, man.
artist. While that
Yeah.
may be the case, like it's up to you to figure out where you're going to go, and art always advances and evolves anyway. Like this is why the industry has embraced, like the art industry is embracing AI as a concept in a lot of ways. Like the movie industry, we can talk about Avatar 2, that in AI being used in that. There's also like anime industry is doing a lot of things there with AI, but like that's a really ancient industry with a lot of people that are really old and don't want to change. So that's probably going to be like one of the last bastions of the sweatshop type of animating field. But I mean, it's just it's going to be it's going to happen regardless. There's no stopping this train. So it's like I personally think it's best to really kind of pick it up and at least learn what it is. Instead of going, it's taking everything from us. So meh, I'm going to just sit here and be angry about it instead of I'm going to get even. I'm going to try and be better because I am inspired. Wow, that AI art looks really good. I've seen that so many instances of like AI art blowing me out of the water. You know, like, okay, so like a learning artist, I'm going to see what I'm looking at. I like what I see, so I'm going to steal it. And I'm going to try and incorporate that. This is what I'm saying. It's like it's so much cooler if you make it yourself, because I mean that means that you're a world-renowned thief, making so many little things. But yeah, I mean, I love having the conversation when it's not super bad faith debate.
For sure, and I hope it didn't feel that way here. We're friends going into this, so I didn't want to mischaracterize your argument. I was trying to tell you before, like, this lady kind of has elements of your argument, but she says it in a really bad way. So yeah, I didn't want to say you are like Aaron here. I think she had very strong opinions, but
very strong.
Man, is there anything? So I will definitely be putting your X handle in the description. Is there anything that you like to advertise while you're here?
For now, going on? So I did do Twitch streams, but I will be unable to do them until further notice because I am moving to a place with terrible internet temporarily for probably like a year. But I am
sorry, I was laughing at Twitter as puke, not you being gone for a year. That sucks. But yeah, definitely look into the commissions, everybody. This is a real artist who can make your art come to life.
I do post art on there sometimes. I've got some things I'm cooking right now. I'm working on the comic with someone as well. That should be coming out in spring if everything goes well. Or I'm doing all of the manga drawing part, and the writing is being left to someone else that's much better at writing than I am. So
that is awesome. Yeah. I did not know about that. Okay, I definitely keep us posted. We definitely want to advertise that when it's out, man. Hell yeah.
Yep.
That's really cool.
It's going to be
hey, you're putting others to shame with how quickly you're doing that, apparently. Hell yeah, man.
It's been
I'm just saying, some people have been years on this. Well, hell yeah. That's awesome, man.
It's a slow Sitchin Adam diss. It took me a second to realize.
Yeah, it was kind of on them. There's also, some frogs out there that have taken their time. But, quality takes its time sometimes. But, yeah, I'm sure you guys know if you're here. But, yeah, also check us both out on The Thinkers on Thursdays on that Darn Kiddos show, or channel, excuse me. BMO is there quite often. And hell yeah. If you want more, check us out there. But, yeah, thanks for joining me, BMO. I really appreciate this.
Thanks for inviting me on.
Thanks for joining us in the audience. Yeah, it was really fun, man. All right.